The same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon. We warm up above freezing. We'll see a high of 37. Overnight tonight, we dip back down to 21, so we'll have that refreezing cycle. But tomorrow's even warmer. We'll see a high of 43 under partly cloudy skies.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 342 points to 44,499. Market update brought to you by Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School. Get outside, try something new, and get a fresh perspective in the new year at Deep River Sporting Clays and Shooting School. More than just a place to shoot. DeepRiverSportingClays.com. Again, DeepRiverSportingClays.com.
Coming in for Dallas short-handed, and Coach Chetkov gets run into and makes the save. He'll get it back across the rink. Good chance for Kotkaniemi, scores! It was a rolling punt. Now here's Walker working his way in. Shot off a launcher, they score! I believe it goes in off of the Stars player. No, give it to Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Robertson, long stretch pass to on one across. Diving play by Burns, rebound chance, and Coach Chetkov gets a piece.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. What's going on, everybody? It's a Thursday, and it is sneakily, low-key, snuck up on us like a prowling large predator cat. Trade season in the NHL already? Already? Canes fans talking about we need a second line center, and if it's going to be a first line center, we can have those conversations. That's where they are already. That's where Canes fans are already. I think this is, first of all, we're going to dive into all the rumors, right? The JT Miller, the Elias Pettersson, where could they go, who could they go? We're going to do it because that's where the Canes are. But I do want to talk about how you get here this early, right? 7 weeks from the trade deadline. I don't even know if we had said Jake Gensel's name on this show 7 weeks. I don't know if it was a month before, right? But it really heated up 2-3 weeks before the trade deadline. So this is early. Here's how. I think Canes fans are a little impatient, right? I think they're getting to the point where they're very much so, talking about Canes fans, very much so not sufficient, not pleased by making the postseason. Right? This is the difference between the first 3 years of Rod Brindamore and now where he is now is there's no longer going to be like hugs in the stadium when you clinch your postseason berth. So already with 7 weeks until the until the trade deadline, set up in second in your division, you're looking beyond that and saying, how can we get better so we can do this and that in the second round, in the third round, which I kind of like, right? I like raising the bar. I like the moment you're starting on JV, figuring out how you can start on varsity. I like the moment you start on varsity, you're thinking about how you can be all conference. I like when the goals keep rising. Now, here's why the trade deadline I think is going to be crazy and why it's not a bad idea to see if you can't get something done early. The NHL, there's no wild over-the-top favorite right now, right? There's not even really an established top tier as far as like these three teams are the favorite. So that means it's wide open, right? That means it's there for the taking. If you take a big swing, you can go grab it, right? Now, the moves that are being discussed with the Carolina Hurricanes, big swing would be an appropriate description, right? These are not small deals. JT Miller and Elias Pettersson are where we will start with the Canucks, and they're one of the teams who, looking around, might say, even though it's wide open, we might not be there, which makes them ripe for the picking. Pierre LeBrun of TSN and The Athletic talks about the latest in a JT Miller possible trade situation.
A couple things that are important to know. One is that Miller hasn't given the Canucks a list of teams that he would waive for, although in those conversations between his camp and the Canucks, there's a sense of the general parameters of the kind of team that would make sense. And yes, there are other teams other than the Rangers that have been in talks with the Vancouver Canucks. One of them is the Carolina Hurricanes, who are looking for an upgrade on offense, and the Hurricanes are looking to see what would make sense if they make an offer to trade for JT Miller.
Now, here's where you have to establish what you're dealing with. Last year, JT Miller had 103 points. That's where you start. That would be more than any player who's worn a Canes uniform while wearing a Canes uniform. Right then, what they did elsewhere. You can go back to the Whalers. They're a couple 105-point seasons, but you're going back a long way, right? A 100-point season is rare. So JT Miller would bring something that they've been lacking during their little run here, which would be truly a top-level point producer in the NHL. As much as I love Sebastian Aho, and I've been calling for him to be a 100-point scorer, hasn't even been a 90-point scorer. And if you want to take it one step further, right, Elias Pettersson, JT Miller's teammate, who's also being mentioned quite a bit, he had a 102-point season 2 years ago, and he's 26 years old. So there's I think the sliding scale is, right, 103 at 31 or 30 years old is got to be, 102 at 24 is a lot more impressive. The Athletic, in one sentence, there's an article, two articles actually, about this particular trade situation. Canes one side, JT Miller the other side, Pettersson the other side, on The Athletic. And I thought one sentence actually wrapped it up pretty well. So where does that leave the Carolina Hurricanes? We know the front office, even under new leadership with Eric Tulsky at the helm, is not interested in recklessly sacrificing the future for now. That's important to remember. These deals are not simple. Even if you are a more freewheeling, run-and-gun, I'm willing to take chances team, these deals are not simple. You go back and forth a billion times. You walk away from the negotiation table. They walk away from the negotiation table. Then you come back with, hey, has this changed? Hey, so-and-so is on a 4-game goal-scoring streak. Does that make him more valuable to you? Things change every single day. Now throw in the fact that the Canes are notoriously not that team that makes these moves. It's going to get more difficult. So these deals are not simple. Issue number one would be the trade compensation, right? If the Canucks move on from either of these guys that are both under contract for at least 5 more years, they're going to want to be heavily compensated. Again, I'll use The Athletic as they kind of batted around compensation ideas in a trade. For Pettersson, and this is what, 26-year-old who scored 100 points, it would be just, here's where they could start. Natchez, Drury, because they don't hypothesize the Canucks would be interested in Kotkaniemi. Then because Drury doesn't make as much as Kotkaniemi, Jesper Fast's long-term IR cap space, Scott Morrow, who's one of the top 3 prospects in the Canes system, defenseman, and a second-rounder, though they do acknowledge that the Canucks would try to dig their heels in for a first. That's a lot. If you go, all right, that's top shelf. We don't want the 26-year-old. What's the price on the 31-year-old? They guessed this. Left winger Nikita Artemanov, who is a 19-year-old Russian winger who is scoring goals over there in Russia this year.
Lighting it up.
Kotkaniemi to make the money work, a 2025 first and a 2026 second. Now they're just batting it around, but that's the ballpark. Canes would rather it be Kokiniemi and Jack Roslovic, maybe plus a sweetener of some kind. But I don't think if I'm the Canucks, I'm jumping at that, especially not with a ton of time before the trade deadline. That's issue number one, is just working all those moving parts. Issue number two, cash and cap hit. Pettersson would be $11.6 million per year for 7 more seasons. Miller would be $8 million per year for 5 more seasons. You have to bake that into your future planning. You have to make sure you have the young players coming up and everything else to be able to, even with the cap going up, put that somewhere you can manage it. Issue number 3, locker room fit. Carolina is traditionally pretty protective of their culture, and JT Miller does come with some kind of reputation as a maybe more dividing force than unifying force in a locker room. Some of that coming out of Vancouver recently. Now, I'm of the belief that if you work that hard like the Canes have to build your culture in the way you have, at some point you got to cash in those chips and be like, hey, our culture is so good we can absorb somebody that maybe other teams wouldn't be able to because, we've got 17 watchdogs of our culture in the locker room that won't let it get carried away.
Yeah, your locker room can handle it.
Yeah, that's and you've seen that across all sports, right? The better culture you have, the more likely a team is to take a chance on maybe somebody with some kind of a negative reputation, and it just might work. Those are 3 issues that are major. But I'm gonna do something that I think fans would appreciate. I think you explore every single possible way to make a deal like this happen. That's not to say it's going to get over the finish line, but that is to say once you identify the problems, get your smart people in a room, get a couple of notepads, and start diagramming what you think would work and passing it around. A 100-point scoring second-line center / maybe, depending on how Rod moves him around, whatever line it gets on, he doesn't number them. That's something you haven't had in a very long time. And it would go against what you've done in the past, right? Letting Vincent Trocheck leave and some of these other moves you've made, not spending the top dollar, would be something you haven't done. Now, what's the quippy little definition that people always throw around? To get something you've never gotten, you've got to do something you've never done. This would be something you've never done during this run of Kane's success, which could potentially get you something you've never gotten. Stanley Cup. If you want to shop bargain basement, again, you'll hear people talking about the Islanders with Brock Nelson, who's 33 but on an expiring contract. You could rent him. Ryan O'Reilly from the Predators, he's 34 with 2 more years on the contract if you want to sign up for that. I mean, they're not – I'm seeing Dennis shake his head no. I agree that's a no, but I think you got to try, right? I think you got to at least check the price. I don't know. Don't pay second-line center prices. Pay fourth-line center prices. And then have an escape plan. Have something else cooking. It is a trade deadline moment 7 weeks before the trade deadline. Take the time, right? You have it. Teams on the road, front office still back in the facilities. Get in the big team room. Use the whiteboard. Get to work. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of getting to work, UNC basketball fans have been working over their team since the loss to Wake Forest a couple days ago. For the first time here on The Drive, we have an emergency feedback frenzy. UNC edition coming up next.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance up front. They score! Here come the Hats!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
would you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760, LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Unique and special are his 4 C's. It's cut, clarity, color, and carat weight. But do you know what makes Diamonds Direct special and unique? It's our own 4 C's. The first C, concept. Diamonds Direct has revolutionized jewelry shopping by eliminating middleman markups and giving you direct access to the world's finest diamonds straight from the diamond cutters. The second C, choice. Diamonds Direct's multi-million-dollar selection of precious diamonds is unparalleled, and with over 4,000 designer settings to choose from, you are empowered to make a decision that works for your style and taste. Third C, confidence. With a nationwide price guarantee, a free lifetime warranty, our unique 110% diamond upgrade policy, and our no-pressure, no-risk environment, you have total peace of mind. And the fourth C, community. Every year we partner with local charities and nonprofits with significant donations of time, money, and jewelry to make this a better place for everyone. Diamonds Direct, official jeweler of the Carolina Hurricanes and proud sponsor of NC State Athletics, and proud to call the Triangle home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? HIMS can help. Get started at hims.com/joy. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy.
Shop can't miss deals going on now during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. For a limited time, get a free adjustable stand when you buy a DeWalt 12-inch miter saw. That's a $229 value. Plus, save $680 on a Midea 4-piece kitchen appliance suite. Now just $17.96. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 1/13 through 1/24. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. While supplies last. See store or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
Rebound pulled in by Lubin. Here come the Tar Heels the other way. Oh my goodness, Ian Jackson with a tomahawk in transition over the top of Salas.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I wish UNC fans and players were allowed to be excited about that Ian Jackson dunk, because it was wild. It was a great dunk from a young, exceptional athlete, but it came in a bad loss to Wake Forest. So after the game, you had to act all salty and sour because you didn't win the games and just wouldn't play early in the game. So here's what's going on here. I think we had some honest conversations about North Carolina's basketball team this season over the last few days. The loss to Wake, prior to that, the loss to Stanford. Prior to that, their struggles in non-conference play. They led us to have certain honest conversations about UNC, and they weren't positive, but I don't think they should have been. And you all had thoughts. The listeners chimed in. So instead of trying to mix in a couple UNC conversations into a traditional, full, broad scope feedback frenzy, we've called an emergency North Carolina basketball feedback frenzy. All comments from you that we will react to, all involving the Tar Heels. Dennis, what did you find?
A lot of anger. Let's just go with that. A lot of anger from UNC fans. This one actually comes from honesty. From T. Kinsey.
A lot of vulnerability.
2022 has prolonged Hubert's tenure, specifically the 2 Duke wins. But the reality is that guy has almost 40 losses in 4 seasons, and this season is not even close to done. How is he even that much better than Doherty at this point? Doherty had a big season in 2001, including winning at Duke, with Guthridge's players. Had a terrible 2002 season, but gets a big recruiting class for 2003, then underwhelms and gets fired anyway. So basically, this person is comparing Hubert Davis to Matt Doherty.
Yep. Which, like, when you look at Hubert Davis's tenure, there's going to be, like, first of all, stats you can do whatever you want with, right? You can make him look good, you can make him look bad. There's going to be things that point to, yes, he is buoyed by the run to the national final and right out the gate. And yes, he did beat Coach K in his last game at Cameron. And yes, he did beat Coach K in the Final Four. And there is a certain amount of that will carry you a certain distance. I stand by this. If you're going to move on from a coach, if you are going to have those hard discussions, you need to think of 2 things. One, is it the eye test, right? Don't, like, if you look at it and he's doing good things and you like the way the program's going, the wins and losses will follow good basketball, right? Give it time. The other is, do you have somebody better who will take the spot? So when you move on from Hubert Davis, you better have a plan in the other direction if you move on from Hubert Davis. But I have no problem with frustration bubbling over this year. If you watch the team this year and you point it to, like I do, to roster construction, that is where the coach, that's part of your responsibility as a head basketball coach now. It's not just X's and O's. You do have to kind of be GM and head coach.
This actually saw this from several people, including one from JB, as well as others saying if you listen to Hubert Davis' press conference, sounds like he doesn't have a clue, including one person, this one comes from Martin Greenwell, saying Hubert Davis sounds like Kenny Payne. That'd be former Louisville coach Kenny Payne, who got fired because, well, look at Louisville before this season.
Yeah. This one's tough, right? Because I like to say, and it's often a joke, but sometimes I'm 100% serious, that we should start a business, and the business would just be like pre-podium planning, right? Called Triple P, with the idea that anytime a coach or athlete goes to the podium for a press conference, they call us 15 minutes before. We Zoom. We tell them what's going to be asked and how they should answer it to not come across putting their foot in their mouth. The reason why I say it's often a joke is because if things are going poorly, there's not much you can say that the fan base is going to love it. Right? Right after things start going poorly, you can do the Tim Tebow, this will never happen again, and I will work harder than anyone's ever worked to make sure that losses like this never happen again. You can do that once. Then if you lose again, what do you want him to say? You want him to go up there and throw people under the bus? You want him to be angry? So it is a tough place to be. I don't know what he would say at this point where it's like, yeah, we lost to Stanford, we lost to Wake, we didn't get it done in the non-conference schedule, but I know exactly how to fix it. Is that what you want him to say? Because I wouldn't, because that would mean he knew how to fix it all along and he hasn't done it yet. Sometimes you just go up there and kill time. I'm not defending him, but I am saying if you have a script for what Hubert Davis should have said after that Wake Forest game that would have gotten the fan base off his back, send it to me. I want that script because it'd probably win a Pulitzer.
Well, people are saying just in general his press conferences, especially after losses.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, leadership is after wins and losses, and you have to be able to steer the ship through both if you are a head coach. So if you have problems with after most losses, then that is something that he probably needs to work on.
This is actually interesting when you get other fan bases that chime in on these things. This one comes from Go Deeks 358, which makes perfect sense. As a Wake fan, we played like we shouldn't have won, yet we did. I'll take it. But then also you have this one comes from User Dash and a lot of different characters. As a Duke fan, this was an amazing, just talking about us, like amazing seeing the current state of UNC. Hope they improve so the ACC can get back to business. That's from a Duke fan.
You know what? That's funny. And we can address both, right? Because Wake Forest was getting a dig in, right? They're saying we played terrible and we still beat y'all. Like that is a backhanded insult rather than a backhanded compliment.
Hey, we played like trash, but hey, I'll take that dub.
Hey, we didn't even have to worry about the 3 you made at the buzzer. We had won so badly. That, to me, if you're a UNC fan, doesn't bother me at all. Because, yeah, we played better. We know it. You get to talk trash because you won. Cool. You're Wake Forest. That happens. Gotcha. The Duke comment would upset me. I hope they get better so the ACC can I don't know what it is, but I remember after bad games I played, I could take people, if the message boards wanted to get on me or whatever. It's when people said, "Oh, it's okay. Oh, you're fine." That upset me. So I'm like, no, it's not. I thought I didn't play well. Right? No, don't give me your pity. Right? If I have high expect, you should have high expect. The fact that UNC has a Duke fan going I really hope they can get better. They're so unworried by you that would upset me more than everything. So that's the one that stings.
Here's another one. Speaking of Duke, this actually chimes in. This one comes from Maximus. I don't get why any top recruit would want to commit to North Carolina. Roy Williams wasn't very good with top freshman talent, and Hubert is 100 times worse. And John Martin replied saying, that's why they go to Duke.
Ian Jackson is good.
He is very good.
Drake Powell is good.
Mm-hmm.
Duke would have loved to have both of them. So I'm not saying they actively recruited. I'm just saying they're the level of recruit that would get Duke fans excited as well.
Sure.
I think you're selling what North Carolina is as a brand a little short there by going why in the world would they go to North Carolina? If you go to, say, Michigan, they have a North Carolina's players picture on their jerseys. If you go anywhere in the country, you're going to see a North Carolina player's picture on shoes all over the place. Of course, I'm talking Michael Jordan. There's a certain level of basketball that is just synonymous with North Carolina, and it's why that you don't have the excuse of so many other schools saying we struck out in recruiting. From the very beginning of the season, this goes preseason before we knew how much North Carolina was going to struggle. They were a preseason top 10 team in the country. We acknowledge they did not have a big man. They did not recruit size enough. There are schools, right, and many of them across the country that if they didn't have a big man and everyone's pointing it out, they could legitimately look at you and just say, we tried. They picked somewhere else to go, right? We recruited 100 big men, and we missed out. I don't accept that from North Carolina because I'm no, you're North Carolina. You may have struck out with the top 30 recruit centers in the country, meaning top 30 overall position players that happen to be centers. But if you walk up to number 127 in the country, there's a good chance an offer gets them. Right, we were just talking about this, Dennis. In basketball, there were top 150 recruits. I was just looking at this year's recruiting stats, 247 their rankings. In the top 150, there were guys going to Ryder. There were guys going to Bradley. There were guys going to I didn't recognize the logos. I had to click on them to go, what team is that? If North Carolina wanted a big, if they felt they needed a big, they could have gotten someone 6'11". So there is a certain level of that's part of the reason why it's so frustrating. Can't just chalk it up to sorry, we missed. You're North Carolina. You get unlimited shots, unlimited bites at the apple. Michael Jordan, we could name them. The national championships. Do you know what's crazy? Since and this is one of those stats I saw on social media, and I believed it 100%, so it might be true, might not be true. Since the last time Kentucky went to the Final Four, UNC's been to 3. Within the last 10 years, they've still had success. It's just not happening right now. Since 2021, they have more NCAA tournament wins than Kentucky. Granted, that's why probably Calipari's not there, but that's a question for another day. Appreciate everyone's insight. We're going to do a traditional feedback frenzy later on in the show to hit more broad topics. Maybe we'll return to the UNC conversation because I know for a fact there's some passionate individuals out there, and we appreciate the passion. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do talk quite a bit of hockey here on The Drive as well. So how about we talk Bailey's Fine Jewelry and the official timekeeping partner of the NHL Players Association and the National Hockey League as a league. We're talking Norcane. It's an independent Swiss luxury brand, actually owned by a former NHL player, or co-founded, I should say, by a former NHL player, and Mark Straight joined the company back in its early stages, and now they're making waves, right? It's first of all, a very sporty look. If you're out there, you are somebody that likes to skate, likes to do things. You can get the independent straps that are more sporty for some of these Norcanes. Mix in color. They are revolutionizing the fashion of a traditional luxury timepiece while also keeping the traditional Swiss watchmaking techniques with modern, innovative design. So excited I can't even talk. Check them out. They're really cool. That's the way I describe Norcane watches. Sometimes you describe a watch, it's classy, it's iconic. Norcane watches, they're really cool, right? They pop. They look special. And they're available at Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. Check them out inside the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. So go to the Village District in Raleigh, find Bailey's, walk in the main showroom doors, all the way to the right, Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. The Norcanes will pop as soon as you walk into Fox and Bailey. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Make sure you tell them that's where you heard about it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have the Dean's List and the inaugural foundation setting Bill Belichick Tar Heels. Stick around.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance out front. They score! Here come the Hats!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy. And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K.O. Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. Now through February 1st, Triangle Area Bojangles are donating all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K.O. Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry biscuit. You'll be doing some good and getting something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
Hey, this is Luke with Newcomb & Company. We are a residential, commercial, plumbing, HVAC company who's been serving the community for over 70 years. Honesty is the biggest policy around here. You know, we take pride in everything we do, anything we touch. We're not one of those companies that come in, throw it in, and then you can't get a hold of them again. We're there with you, hand in hand. Here at Newcomb & Company, what stands us apart from other companies is we actually do more than just AC and heat pumps. We do boilers, geothermals, furnaces, radiant floor, anything that is odds and ends that nobody else can touch is what we thrive on. At Newcomb & Company, we do same-day service. That's also another thing that helps us stand apart from other places is we do same-day service because we have enough professionals to get out to these houses to solve what the problems are. And we're on 24/7 on emergency basis, weekends, nights, holidays, you name it, we're there. If you ever need us, give us a call. Visit our website at newcombandcompany.com. As you always hear us say, your comfort is our business.
Shinedown Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Raleigh. Lenovo Center Raleigh, August 21st. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
You look amazing. What have you been doing?
You've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% spend less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can help provide you with semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text MAJOR to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie to see if you're eligible. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text MAJOR to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text MAJOR to 200-300. MAJOR to 200-300.
Finney got rejected by Cooper inside, and he's fired up. And here's James the other way. A crossover up top, Cooper. Feeling it, sizing it up. Sends it to the right. Evans a three. Count it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Yesterday was a quiet day for local teams in the college sports world, but every day we have to do the Dean's List, so we had to get creative today. Let's go ahead and put class in session. Dean's List, where we highlight those that deserve praise, maybe are under the radar, but should be put on an honor roll or a Dean's List. We call it the Dean's List here on the Drive. Again, we had to be a little creative here, but this one, I didn't realize this happened. So, if you watched the Stanford UNC game, what happened? Jalen Blakes hit the game winner, right? That was on Saturday. Stanford senior guard for Stanford, who started his career at Duke. Jalen Blake scored 20, including the winning basket with less than a second remaining over North Carolina. What I didn't know was on Monday, Michaela Blake's, Jalen Blake's sister, who plays for Vanderbilt, was trailing rival Tennessee by 1 point. They had the ball in the final possession, and she grabbed an offensive board off a missed layup, and her putback with 0.4 seconds left gave the Vanderbilt Commodores the win over Tennessee.
Look at that.
Siblings.
Look at the family.
Against North Carolina men's basketball and Tennessee women's basketball. That's about as name brand as you can possibly get.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
They had game winners like a day and a half apart. I hope someone in their family, a parent, a cousin, traveled from one to the other and was just like, this is the greatest of all time.
Do you think his sister talked crap to him? It's like, oh, I did it with 0.4.
Yeah. I hope there was trash talk between Jalen's and Michaela's.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
So Jalen was talking all kinds of mess, and then Michaela did it and was like, "What? Did you think that's hard?"
Yeah.
Was that? Sorry, the way you were talking about it, you made it seem like that was difficult. I just went ahead and did it. That's a cool moment for the family, right? They should, take pictures of them, put them in the den. Another Dean's List member for today is a gentleman that plays for. I'm kind of finding fun in this, finding a team that just did horrendously in the ACC and finding an individual player that deserves some accolades. Matthew Cleveland for Miami. Now, everyone that hates the way that college sports are going, right? If you hate the fact that I think I saw 2 of the 5 starting offensive linemen for Notre Dame are going in the portal as of today. If you hate that because they were just in the national championship and where is the loyalty? You need to give a shout out to Matthew Cleveland. He is a senior guard for Miami. He did start his career at Florida State, so maybe you don't love that. Went from Florida State to Miami a couple years ago. He is a 6'7" guard. That's size on the perimeter. That averaged 14.6 rebounds, 2 assists, and more than a steal per game last year for Miami. I say that to say he could have hit the portal and been desired. You put up 14, 6, and 2, and you're a solid defender with over a steal per game in the ACC. You hit the portal, you can get NIL money, you'll get attention. But he stuck around. He stuck around at Miami. And his coach quit on him. Jim Larinaga left in the middle. They had already started playing games, and he left. And his team was 0-7 in the ACC and dead last going into last night's game against Stanford. So to recap, could have left, didn't, stayed. What did he earn the right to do? have his coach walk away and have his team be awful. They are 0-7 going into the Stanford game, and what happens? Less than 5 minutes into the game, Stanford is up 16-3. Miami is getting boat raced. They're down 16-3. They're down 25-5. They're just getting smoked. Cleveland finished with 23 points on 7 of 14 shooting and got to the free throw line 11 times. You get to the free throw line, effort, right? Contact, drawing contact, driving, doing the hard things. The guy didn't give up, and I respect the heck out of that because it would have been an easy time to do so. It's easy to quit. Ask Larinaga. Last Dean's List member, and this is going to transition into our next topic here. Bill Belichick. I know he's not in school, but he's now officially employed by a school. Signed his contract yesterday. There was some worry about that, right? UNC put it.
Congrats on signing your contract to a job you agreed to 2 months ago.
Yep, exactly. But better late than never. No harm, no foul. Didn't end up changing anything. Just gave people like us a chance to talk about it last week. But I did say, all right, if you're going to be around, just sign the contract. And he did it. So there you go. He makes the Dean's List by default. Class dismissed. There it is. A little early on the bell. A little early for me on the bell. Bill Belichick, speaking of, announced his 21 new players. The first class of the Belichick era has been announced. There were 7 players that had already signed during the signing day prior to Bill Belichick getting the job. They kind of signed in that purgatory between Mac Brown and Bill Belichick. So the total class is 28 players, 21 of them chosen by Belichick and his staff. This is why this is a big deal. I'm going to give a little personal history of me, but also personal history of a school I went to. So here's the deal. Actually, speaking of personal and historic moments personally, I don't know how many times I've referenced this on air. Just a little side conversation here. My wife is pregnant, and we are within 1 month of the due date.
I'm about to say, hey, Dennis, I got to go.
No,
a second. You caught me. Wait a second. Hold on.
But that is what I'm adding here, which is at some point in the next month, hopefully, darn sure for my wife's sake, she wants it well before the due date if possible. I'm gonna have to bounce, right? I got to go do the dad thing, be there to help. I'll be taking some paternity leave. So if you do tune in one day and I am not on the air, or if at some point in time I go into commercial and on the other side it's just Dennis, that's what's happening, right? I have my second child on the way. A little girl, daughter. I have a son and a daughter on the way, so one of each.
Don't worry, we'll get live play-by-play.
Yeah, we'll call. We'll zoom in. But I just want everybody to know that, so pay attention for it. Dennis, Paul, everybody else will do the team thing and cover. So you're in good hands. But that is a little personal history, or personal future, I guess, to keep everybody updated on. Personal history, and this is why Bill Belichick's first class is important. I went to, for 5 years, middle school and early high school, a super old and prestigious private school in Hawaii. It's called Punahou Academy. Okay. I'm going to read some of the facts about Punahou, and you'll see the point at the end, so just come with me on this walk. A U.S. president went to Punahou. At least one Olympian in every Olympics since 1964 was a graduate of Punahou. Recent NFL players, Manti Te'o, who I played with, DeForest Buckner, who is one of the highest-paid defensive linemen in the sport, Kiimi Fairbairn, who was one of the best kickers, Andre Yoshivas, who was part of that dynamic Bengals receiving corps, Maris Liufau, who was a draft pick and a rookie that made a big impact on the Dallas Cowboys. Many of you will remember Michelle Wie, if you're a golf fan. She was a prodigy at 15 years old. A young women's golfer. She played on the professional men's tour. She was that good. Bellator MMA flyweight champion Elimele McFarlane, movie star and wife of John Travolta, the late great Kelly Preston, attended Punahou. Dancing with the Stars judge Carrie Ann Inaba The guy that basically created the internet as we know it, Steve Case, who was the founder of America Online, AOL, attended Punahou. 5 different people that have been on the Forbes list of richest Americans at some point in the last couple of decades have attended Punahou. This is one of those schools where it's just everybody is doing something awesome. Someone in the science room is inventing an app that's going to be worth a bunch of money. The football team has a bunch of 4-star and 5-star recruits. The pool has a water polo person that's going to be the captain of Team USA. Like, everybody's just doing something great. But as far as I know, outside of people that donate money and get a building named after them, like there's the Case Middle School, as far as I know, there's only one plaque on campus that honors anybody. It's on Old School Hall right across from the Mamiya Science Center. It's a thing that people go to. And it has the 34 names of boys and girls that were part of the very first class at the school in 1841. Because you looked at all of this greatness, the Olympians, the business, the philanthropic, the musicians, the this, the that, the famous, the president, all of it started with 34 names, boys and girls. And the crazy part was, I went back and looked it up today because I was like, let me see if I have all this right. There were 4 Chamberlains on the list, last name Chamberlain. I knew Chamberlains. There were 3 Armstrongs on the list. One of my teachers, Armstrong. I'm looking at it going like, I wonder, right? That this is the foundation that was laid for this entire multi-million, billion-dollar future. 34 names. You set the foundation by being first. Bill Belichick, now I'm not saying like, hey, one of these kids that Bill Belichick recruited is going to one day be a judge on Dancing with the Stars. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, if they're going to have success, that first group can accelerate things, can be above and beyond, right? And they're going to have to go above and beyond to set the foundation that North Carolina football wants to set. Right? There's no doubt in my mind in the future if this works for UNC, right? If Bill Belichick or Steve Belichick or whoever comes in and runs Michael Lombardi, the GM, if it works in the way that they think it will, there's going to be better recruiting classes. There's going to be higher-ranked players that commit to UNC. There's going to be players that'll make more NIL money. There's going to be players that'll be drafted high. But I don't know if they'll be more important, right? Because what they do will be built off of this class. So I looked at the class, and I have to be honest with you. Not the fireworks I was expecting. Right? Within a couple of hours of Bill Belichick taking the job, he had 4-star quarterback Bryce Baker, a top 150 recruit from in-state, recommit to UNC. And my maybe over-the-top expectations were, oh, he's just getting started. Wait till you look at this. Took him in a couple hours to get that guy to recommit. He was at a basketball game like that weekend with Bryce Baker on the court. I was like, yeah, watch what happens. There's a pretty good argument that Bryce Baker was the most impressive player, most high pedigree incoming player in the class. That was the high water mark of the recruiting world for Bill Belichick this offseason. Happened a couple hours after he took the job. They brought in 7 high school players signed before Bill Belichick got there. 4 after Bill Belichick got there. Bryce Baker, Austin Alexander, Jeriel Cobb, a running back, and Terry Nabuisi Iziala. I apologize if I did not pronounce that correctly. Austin Alexander, 4-star, very big recruit, had a bunch of legit power conference offers. Cobb and Nabuisi Iziala, not a lot of competition there. Cobb picked North Carolina over, according to 247 Sports, 5 total offers, 4 other offers. Air Force, App State, Maine, and Montana State. North Carolina should be able to get that recruit. On the transfer market, more of the same. Sure, they did get an Alabama transfer, Miles McVay. They did get a Michigan kicker, a Michigan State wide receiver, right? They did get some big-name, higher-profile recruits, but they also got a Prairie View A&M offensive/defensive lineman who did not have a high recruiting pedigree. There's something to be desired in this recruiting class. 2 from East Carolina. Did bring 4 from Washington, which would lead you to believe they followed Steve Belichick, who was the defensive coordinator at Washington. We're talking the Huskies out there in the Pacific Northwest. So some of their better recruits kind of following him. But I would argue that's not even straight up recruiting, right? That's you already had the relationship as a head or as a coordinator. You're bringing him over. There's not much there. You're not going to win the ACC recruiting ranks with what they brought in. But just like those 34 names, way back in 1841 at the high school I went to, you hope that they're not the most impressive part about the future of what they're starting. They get their plaque, right? They get their love because they're the first, but you hope down the line there's more geniuses, there's more impressive athletes, there's more people that'll leave bigger individual legacies, but it's them committing early and making it their deal that can lead to everything else. I don't know if we're going to look back a bunch of years from now and go, Christo Kelly. No disrespect to Kelly. That Holy Cross offensive line 3-star transfer ended up being the diamond in the rough, and he turned into a high second-round pick guard. I don't know if we're going to be doing that. And I could have used anybody, right? I could have picked Chad Lindbergh from Rice or Coleman Bryson from Minnesota. Like, I could have picked any of these guys. I'm not sure we're going to look back and say they were the all-ACC offensive or defensive player of the year and took the world by storm, but we might look back and say, hey, Bill Belichick really got things cranking at UNC. And I'm not sure he does that if he doesn't have that first really good recruiting class, really solid recruiting class. That's what they have to make their legacy. If you want to dive into the nitty-gritty, if you want to see the actual individuals, heights, weights, recruiting pedigrees, how many stars here, how many stars there, you can go check it out. WRAL Sports Fan, Brian Murphy kind of compiled it all into one place for you. So go check that out again, WRALSportsFan.com. We have a little bit of time before the top of the hour, so let's preview the Canes, shall we? We've got a busy day for a Thursday. Canes tonight taking on Columbus. You know what's fun to say? Hunting for their 4th straight win.
Let's go.
Are the Carolina Hurricanes.
Let's get it tonight.
It's been 2 months since we've been able to say that. I have to give this obligatory nod to Columbus because I kind of sold them short yesterday. Columbus, better than you think.
Yeah,
right?
Don't sleep now.
You're conditioned to think, they're the Blue Jackets. They're 4th in the Metropolitan, 7-2-1 in their last 10, and they have a winning record against the Canes this year. They're 2-1 against Carolina.
I think both those games went into overtime, at least. Maybe
at least
shootout.
One of them. I remember one of them. So yeah, it's better than you think. And Freddie Anderson was in the starter's crease at morning skate, so you expect him to be in net as he and Pyotr Kochetkov get back into that one game rhythm as we expect them to do. So a guy playing against a team that's sneaky better than you think. You have your goalie in net making just his second start since being off for 3 months. You're starting to see some reasons why it's like, no, you better lock in for this one. And you know who I'm looking towards?
Who?
Sebastian Aho.
Oh, okay.
Last 8 games, 1 goal, 3 points. If you take out overtime, so you say regulation, right, when there's not all that space that Aho loves in overtime, 0 goals, 2 points in the last 8 games. This is supposed to be a better than 1 point per game player. And for the last couple of years, he has been. I don't know why I say he's supposed to. He is a better than 1 point per game player. 2 points over 8 games, I can do basic math on that. That's a quarter of a point a game. That's not enough. Taking out overtime, obviously. I'm big on, right, there's a time to almost treat your stars if they're struggling like nothing's going on because you trust them and you're like, you'll figure it out, right? Don't panic. There's also a time to put the metaphorical, fire under their tail. It's getting there with Aho. It's getting there. I saw, Chicago, after the game. By the way, Canes won. That was 2 games ago. There was a picture I saw of Aho waving at what looked like the other end of the ice. Everybody was celebrating. Svech looked like he was yelling at Chicago's goalie. Like it was like a post game, you won immediately after deal, and his hand was in the air and he was waving. I saw it on social media. Do you know what jumped into my brain right away?
What's that?
I hope that's a taunt. Right? I hope it's not like oh, yeah, my friends from back home are up in the stands. I got them tickets, and I told them right after the game I'd be waving to them. Like, I hope that's not what happened. I hope a defenseman for Chicago was talking crazy. I hope that somebody was under his skin a little bit, and he was out there trying to rub it in his face. I hope it was a sarcastic wave. Like, bye-bye, see ya. Like when you eliminate someone from playoff contention and you tell them to have fun in Cancun. Like, I hope that's what was going on, because I want Sebastian Aho to be a bit more fiery. He's nice, which in every other industry, I'm like, that's a compliment, right? Hey, you are a very nice, kind individual. You seem to care about others. Like, that's great. Occasionally, you go to sports because you need to be like primal and barbaric. I need that more from Aho. And the last 8 games especially. I do love the killer instinct of overtime. He always, this year at least, he seems to, go hunting for the jugular. I like that.
Yeah, it's all 4 overtime winners.
But also, I do think part of that is just it fits his game. He's skilled. There's so much more space. He can operate in a different way. I don't know if it's changing his mindset as much as just that individual drill really fits his traits. So I'm looking at Aho, and I'm not. Maybe I am. I'm calling him out. All right, I want him to play better. Last question, because we did start the show talking about trade rumors. Do the trade rumors impact anybody? Do they annoy anybody? Do they put anyone in the wrong mind space? I'll answer with this. They better not, because you're a professional athlete and you got 6 more weeks of it minimum coming your way. So lock in. If you're going to be traded, you might as well be traded on a heater. You know what I mean?
By the way, the Carolina Hurricanes are 7-3-1 this month. So last 11 games, so just look at the calendar year of 2025, so the month of January, 7-3-1. First time that they've had 3 straight wins, going back again to November, where they won against Ottawa, St. Louis, and Philadelphia on the 16th, 11th, and 20th of November. So that's the last time they had a 3-game win streak. But again, you talk about Columbus, the last 10 games, so the month of January, they're 7-2-1. But go back even further in that, 11-3-2 in their last 16 games. Like, this is don't sleep on this team. Now, their 2 wins against the Carolina Hurricanes this year both have come in the shootout. It's what it is. And the Canes did beat them once 4-1 earlier this year. But don't sleep just because it's the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's just the perception of the name. Don't.
And I don't think the team will. I think I might, but I don't think the team will, because they
shouldn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, and they're veteran enough. They've been around long enough to know. It should be a fun one, though. Looking forward to it. Hunting 4 straight wins is always a good time. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The NFL Awards finalists have come out, and we've also put our little Panthers spin on it. But first, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for ESPN Bet Sportsbook. The action is heating up this playoff season at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Lock in your touchdown picks, check out trending parlays, and increase your winnings with Profit Boost. New customers can get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win, and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with the promo code RADIO to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As I mentioned, the NFL Awards finalists have come out. Needless to say, there's no Panthers on the actual nominations, but we will include the Panthers coming up for Football at 4. Stick around.
All playoff roads lead to New Orleans.
Playoff football, baby.
The Wild Cards, the championship games, presented by First Horizon Bank and Wake Med, will be heard here.
It's Barkley running to the left. Barkley gets by everybody. Saquon Barkley is gone. Touchdown. 28-15. Philly.
The Triangle's home for Super Bowl 59. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle sports leader.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760, LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Partly cloudy, and we start to warm things up. Still a little icy out there, but 37 this afternoon certainly helps to melt some more of those slick spots. 21, though, overnight tonight, so we get back into that freezing cycle. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, and we keep warming up. We'll see a high of 43.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 408 points to 44,565.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I was just filled in on, as we get to the football at 4, was literally just filled in on moments ago that the ACC may have leaked a few of their football scheduled games. So we're going to do our best to bring those to you right away.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I have a Week 0 game for you.
Oh, let's go. So you know what? This is going under the
Week 0 ACC opener. ACC legend Stanford.
Oh, there you go.
At Hawaii.
All right.
But I do
ACC after dark.
Yeah, I assume that will be later. Week 1, I do have, I believe their entire schedule, so I can give you the triangle teams here. Week 1 college football schedule. I know it seems like the season just ended. We're already full steam ahead towards 2025. On Thursday, this is August 28th. Thursday, August 28th. ECU at North Carolina State.
All right, ECU at NC State. That's a Thursday night.
That is a Thursday night. We knew that game was going to be week 1 because they're kind of running it back from the bowl game. But that is Thursday. I believe it'll be the 2nd ACC game played. I think that's logo for Wake Forest is Kennesaw State. So Kennesaw State at Wake Forest will be on Friday. That is. So week 0, Stanford at Hawaii. Thursday of week 1, ECU at NC State. That's on Thursday. And on Friday, Kennesaw State at Wake Forest. Saturday, obviously, will be a chock full of college football for week 1. Looks like Fordham at Boston College. Oregon State at Cal, getting an old Pac-12 rivalry rolling.
There you go.
LSU at Clemson.
Nice.
Some pretender / not pretender things very early. Dabo versus Brian Kelly. What do you do there? Elon at Duke will also be Saturday. That is the 30th of August. Alabama at Florida State. That'll be a pretender contender real quick. Find out if Florida State fixed everything they were dealing with. Georgia Tech at Colorado. These are some box office games. I knew the opponents. I didn't realize they were all going to be the same day.
Yeah.
EKU, what's that? Eastern Kentucky at Louisville. This is all on Saturday the 30th. That could be maybe Dartmouth at Pitt. I don't know what that stands for. That is a logo that I don't know. Looks like I'll have to figure that out. Another one at SMU. Little lion. Turns out I'm not very good with college football logos. Who would have guessed?
Look at you.
Syracuse versus Tennessee. And Coastal Carolina at Virginia. Those are the Saturday games. North Carolina fans, don't worry. You have your game coming up as well.
This is Labor Day weekend, folks.
Yep.
Keep that in mind. So again, Thursday, leading up to Labor Day weekend, East Carolina is at NC State.
And Kennesaw at Wake Forest is on Friday. Then there's Elon at Duke, amongst many other ACC games on Saturday. That's the 30th of August. And then Sunday, the 31st, is Notre Dame at Miami. Virginia Tech versus South Carolina.
Okay.
That's on the Sunday. And then Monday, which is September 1st, TCU at North Carolina. That will be the Bill Belichick opener, and that will be on ESPN at 7:30. We do have a start time for that one. So 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Monday, September 1st, TCU at Bill Belichick's Tar Heels.
Well, look at that. Bill Belichick gets Monday Night Football. This is going to be familiar for him. All right, guys, Monday Night Football primetime. This is nothing.
That is funny.
Doesn't have to deal with this Saturday nonsense. Put him on primetime Monday.
He's gonna have like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Can you just call me? Actually, they really weren't around on Monday night as much for Belichick. That is a heck of a week 0 in week 1. I don't know if the ACC is going to be good at football next year because every year is its own individual beast, and you kind of have to completely forget what you learned about a team last year because with the portal and everything else changing, it doesn't necessarily indicate they're going to be good or bad the following year. And if you don't believe me, look at the last 2 years of Florida State football, and that'll tell you how different one year can be from the next. You could be undefeated and should have been in the college football playoff one year, and the next year, maybe the worst power conference team in the country. Like, literally. So, which one of these games will feature the contenders? I don't know. But from a brand, fame, Q-score perspective, the ACC is not playing around in their non-conference schedule. ECU at NC State. You may be like, oh, it's just a non-conference, non-power conference. That is something that will capture the attention, at least of our region, right? That is.
Oh yeah.
There, if you throw the word rivalry out there, half people be mad at you, half people. There's a relationship there. There is something there
with the fireworks that we had to end that bowl game. Darn right, there's a rivalry.
It's like when two people are obviously dating or hanging out or whatever you want to call it, and they deny it, and we're just like, we are in the same room with y'all, right? We see how you interact. You can say it's not a rivalry, but we see what's going on here. Kennesaw State at Wake, that one might not be as buzzy, but it is on a Friday of that weekend, so you won't have a ton of competition. Elon at Duke, another local one, and then the rest of the ACC. LSU at Clemson, Alabama at Florida State, Syracuse versus Tennessee. These are big games. Georgia Tech at Colorado. You're going to go to Deion Sanders the first time he doesn't have Shador as his head coach or as his quarterback as a college coach. Notre Dame at Miami, 2 of the top 15 teams in the country this year. Virginia Tech versus South Carolina. That's Frank Beamer's squad versus Shane Beamer.
Yeah. It's a family affair.
And then Monday, the Belichick debut, TCU at UNC.
Primetime on a Monday night.
We are going to have quite a bit of time to break down all these games, but I guarantee you one of the things that I will be saying leading into that week is the ACC has to show out in the games that everybody is watching, because how you play Clemson versus LSU is going to be referenced every time someone plays Clemson in the ACC schedule. How Notre Dame plays at Miami, right? Every single time Miami is beaten or beats somebody else, they're going to go, well, Miami is a really good team, so losing to them is not quite as bad. If you want to get the Big Ten or SEC boost, you got to play really well against the Big Ten or SEC or Notre Dame Independent. Right? If Virginia Tech beats South Carolina, for the rest of the year, we'll be sitting there going, the SEC's not better. Virginia Tech beat South Carolina. Remember that? It was on week 1. It was on Sunday. It will be a whole thing. Like, you need to show out in those games.
By the way, tomorrow we will get the first ACC game for all 17 schools.
Okay.
So we'll get the ACC, again, the ACC opener for all 17 schools tomorrow. Then we'll get the full schedule on Monday. Monday night, actually, is when they're going to reveal the full schedule.
This is just a media conversation real quick. I'm sure they've done studies or whatever to learn that, like, leaking them out one drip at a time is better, right? Because now you get us to talk about it today, tomorrow, and Monday, and Tuesday. I would very much appreciate it if you just had, like, one, you could be an hour, 2 hour, whatever, announcement show and just let it go. Treat it like a selection Sunday. I don't want to get one piece, one kernel, one little Hansel and Gretel breadcrumb to lead me to a schedule.
We know that the networks, by the networks I mean ACC's deal with Disney, they have a factor into all of this.
Yep.
They're not dumb when it comes to, hey, let's put Bill Belichick in his first game on a primetime Monday night when there's zero competition, because everyone's going to tune in and watch. Hey, ESPN, Monday night before the NFL season kicks off, let's put Bill Belichick there. There's going to be a ton of buzz around that game. Trust me, ESPN knows what they're doing. Do not be shocked if Carolina gets a ton of primetime games this season. I'm talking
sure.
Noon kickoff on ABC,
night
the primetime
games,
night game,
game
ESPN,
day.
All that stuff. Game day. They're going to get a ton of that.
If they beat TCU, they might be game day like week 2, because ESPN and ABC won't want to give them time to turn into a pumpkin if they are going to turn into a pumpkin, and they want to have game day there.
Cash in while you can.
We don't have to go into all of it, but there is always corporate influence on all of it. The Virginia Tech South Carolina game on Sunday, if you click on the ACC graphic and zoom in, 2025 Aflac kickoff game in Atlanta. Syracuse versus Tennessee, 2025 Aflac kickoff game in Atlanta. Notre Dame at Miami on ABC, 7:30 p.m. Sunday. Like, it's always going to be there. What we need is to make the ACC more desirable as a whole for those games, because ratings, money follows eyeballs and networks, and it's all there. You know how it goes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will get to NFL awards at some point. We also have the Ladder Challenge coming up next, and as a competitive person, we can't move too far away from that. So stick around. We have The Drive coming up next right here on 99.9.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance out front. They score! Here come the Hats!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the KO Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. Now through February 1st, Triangle Area Bojangles are donating all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the KO Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry biscuit. You'll be doing some good and getting something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
Diamonds Direct different. You have to understand our history. It goes back 60 years to a renowned diamond cutter overseas. From there came years of diamond cutting, manufacturing and wholesaling, supplying exquisite fine diamonds only to high-end jewelers. Then eventually the wholesalers started selling direct to the public, and that started a revolution. Today, we are a global diamond powerhouse with hundreds of thousands of customers and an impeccable reputation. But our core values are the same as always. Our diamonds are the highest quality cut by the best craftsmen. Our prices are the most compelling. Our selection is staggering. Our warranties and guarantees are rock solid. And our people are laser focused on helping you find the diamond of your dreams. We invite you to experience a jewelry shopping experience unlike any other. Showroom hours, directions, and more online at DiamondsDirect.com. Official jeweler of the Carolina Hurricanes and proud sponsor of NC State Athletics. And proud to call the Triangle home. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today. You in? We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need to...
With easy access to 1 million plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Through the seam, Goss is back for Natchez. He scores! 3:08 left here in the third, and Marty Natchez wires it past Luukkonen, and the Canes are with 1-1.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, coming out of the break a cappella because it's time for the ladder challenge. Hey, there we go. Hey. Should have been more patient.
We'll peel back the curtain here a little bit. We had a little technical issue earlier this week in the building, so sometimes things are a little slow to operate.
I'm not complaining. We'll get through it. Here's the way it goes, though. I hit my ladder challenge bet pretty easily last night. What happened with you, Dennis?
Let's see. I had the New Jersey Devils plus 2.5 goals. They won 5-1. So, yeah.
So yours also hit pretty easy.
So I just nailed it, cashed in.
All right. So what are you up to now? Am I fading, or
I'm up to $45.50.
45, you said?
Yeah.
All right. I'm up to $34.50.
Okay.
So I'm right there. As soon as you fall step, I'm taking the lead. The way the ladder challenge works, Dennis and I started with $10 at the beginning of January, and we just place small. We place $10 bet, but the small winnings, right? Likely to win bets between -500 and -1,000, with the idea being we know sports enough, as many sports fans do, to win a likely to win bet, one a day. Each day we roll over the winnings, and hopefully by the end of the month we have a nice stack of cash because, a small percentage of a total that keeps growing just grows and grows and grows and grows. So we are up to, as you just heard, $35 to $45, and we're hopefully going to continue to grow that all the way to the end of the month. Whoever has the most money at the end of the month wins. Dennis, you get to lead off, so go ahead and take the reins.
This one's a little bit tricky. I'm still going to stick with hockey because it's just what I do. But I'm actually going to do something a little bit different when it comes to the Canes and Columbus Blue Jackets tonight.
I don't like you changing, just to be honest.
Over 3.5 goals scored tonight between the Canes and Blue Jackets. That's a -850. So again, I need 4 or more goals scored tonight. I don't care by whom. Obviously, I want the Canes to score them all. But I just need over 3.5 goals scored. So my $45.50 will turn into $50.80.
I don't know how I feel about you changing it up. You couldn't find a shots on goal bet you liked?
I didn't really find one that I really liked, to be honest. I mean, I thought about the Washington Capitals on the road in Seattle at +2.5. I decided to pass on that one because, I don't know, Seattle at home, it's a cross-country trip.
All right.
My gut was telling me, I feel like Seattle wins this one 5-2. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to pass on that one. But tonight, I feel like the Canes themselves are going to score 4 goals because they're going to win 5-2.
All right, well, I'm not kind of straying from what I normally do because I've been finding some success.
Football?
Football I've been finding some success with. I believe this month I'm perfect on ACC college basketball bets. I've been teasing spreads, finding little prop bets, which, by the way, last night, Maxime Reynard, the center for Stanford, I had him at 8 or more rebounds versus Miami. He had 12. And I didn't watch the game, but based on the fact that Stanford absolutely smoked Miami, I think he could have had 50 rebounds if he wanted to. But 8 was all I needed, and he had 12, which is good enough to win me the bet. Tonight, no ACC basketball action, no football action of note. So I've gone NBA, and I'm playing a little narrative bet here. I want LeBron James 15 or more points versus the Celtics. Lakers-Celtics tonight. I want LeBron 15 or more. It's -750. LeBron has had at least 15 in every game since December 2nd. And also, the narrative side of it is the Lakers hate the Celtics, right? That's a rivalry. They don't hide from it. And LeBron hates the Celtics based on his time in the Eastern Conference with the Cavs and the Heat. So he's going to be motivated. 15 is nothing for the leading scorer in the history of the game. So -750, LeBron over 15 points. That'll hopefully turn my $34.51 into $39.11. That's what I'm looking for in the ladder challenge today. We'll let you know how it goes, and hopefully have one more winner for you tomorrow before the end of the week, and then we'll cruise on forward. That is the Ladder Challenge here on The Drive. This is Hurricanes and Cons here on The Drive.
To play great defense, you need one thing above all else. That starts with a W. Confidence.
Confidence or concerns. It's Hurricanes and Cons. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes? Speaking of the Hurricanes, 4:33. Tonight is a game night. The Canes are playing against Columbus at home tonight. You can hear it right here on 99.9 The Fan. But that also means we have first goal scorer predictions coming up. At 4:33, we'll open up the phone lines. We'll take 3 official contestants on the call-in line, and they will predict who will score the first goal for the Canes and in what period that first goal will be scored. And if any of our contestants that will take on the call-in line get it right, they'll win a sweet Apex Racing Lab prize. For those of you that are too afraid to call in, you might not be near a phone at that time, you can always comment on our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan, our YouTube page. Just comment with who you think is going to score the first goal for the Canes and in what period. And if you get it right, we'll give you some shout-outs. With that being said, confidence and concerns. As always, good news, bad news. Which do you want first? You'll take the bad news. I'm concerned about the top forwards. I went to the Pro Hockey Reference Season Stat Leaders page.
Okay.
And I just went across the top, right? They have all these different categories. Assists, goals, points, plus minus, power play, like all these things. And I just clicked, boop, 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 sorted by each category. Goals per game, Canes leader is Jarvis, 49th. Assists per game, Natchez, 13th. Points per game, Natchez's slump has dropped him down to 11th in the league in points per game. They have nobody on the attacking stats in the top 10 in the NHL. Really across any stat. Now, give credit to Slavin. In takeaways per game, he is 7th. So, not as worried about the blue line for obvious reasons. But like Martinook is the team lead in plus minus. He's 26th. Face-off percentage, it's Drury. He's 48th. Like in the per game stats, they're just not up there. And hockey is one of the sports that I think it's most doable. But in team sports, I do genuinely subscribe to the theory that it is exceptionally difficult to win a title without an inner circle star, right? Without a superstar, if you will, without somebody that is performing at or near the top in the league. Like Vegas 2 years ago doesn't happen often, I guess is what I'm getting at, right? Like the Pistons in 04 doesn't happen often. Last year, Florida, Reinhart was 5th in goals per game. 3 years ago, Colorado, obviously McKinnon. You go to Tampa Bay, you can talk about their stars, Kucherov, Stamkos, et cetera, et cetera. I think somebody on the Canes up front in one of the point production stats has to kind of catch the heater that Nate just was on earlier. Like, I'm looking for the 4 top forwards to play super-duper top forward play. I'm a little concerned that you're not getting enough of that. Can you win with just excellent team play and system? Yes, it's just more difficult. That's what I'm concerned about. Dennis, what's your concern?
To me, it's actually point production right now from the blue line. This is actually something that Carolina has really lacked overall this season. Outside of Shane Gostisbehere's production, which has mostly come on the power play, he has 6 goals and 22 assists this season. 4 of his goals are power play goals this year. Outside of that, you have not really been getting much of the scoring production from the blue line like we saw last season. Dmitry Orlov has 4 goals. Slavin has 3. Chatfield has 4. Sean Walker has a pair. Ty Smith has 1. So there, again, the production as a whole has not been very good. You look at last year and the production that the Carolina Hurricanes got from the blue line. Brady Shea had 13 goals. Brent Burns had 10. You also look and see Jacob Slavin had 6, so he's kind of on pace. But even last year, Jalen Chatfield had 8 goals and 14 assists. Brett Pesce, Tony D'Angelo each had 3. So you actually have more contribution from your blue line as a whole in terms of like goals per game and points per game. You had a little bit more production overall last year, which is something this Carolina Hurricanes team is known for having. Their blue line jumping up in the play, contributing offensively because they have the green light, to jump up in the play, but to pinch along the wall. Just overall haven't been getting the point production outside of Shane Gostisbehere on the power play.
Ghost was not at morning skate, by the way, this morning, and that raised some eyebrows. Is going to be available after practice. They did reveal that he is expected to play tonight.
Yes.
So.
Not uncommon because on Sunday when they practiced, he didn't practice with the team. That was a full team practice. He didn't skate with the team, but he still played in Monday and Tuesday's games.
Whatever you got, save it for the game, Ghost.
I mean, he dealt with an upper body injury where he missed 8 games. Clearly still dealing with something.
Let's get to the more fun part. Let's get to confidence.
Yeah.
On a 3-game win streak, what are you most confident about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes? Dennis and I do not share these notes. I say that often. We do not know which one is going in which direction before we get on air. But I do think there's a chance we're on the same wavelength here.
Okay.
So I'm gonna wait, and you'll tell by my reaction whether it's there or not. Dennis, what are you confident in?
That their goaltending tandem
Let's
is back.
go!
Yep, that's it.
Goalie rotation.
Goalie tandem's back.
Who would have thunk it? The goalies are on the confidence side of things. Who would have thunk it?
Stability, folks.
Stability and just where they are in their careers. I think the 1 game on, 1 game off thing works, right? Freddie, now that he's back from injury, right? And he's dealt with so many injuries in the last 3, 4, 5 seasons, whatever it's been. I think just getting rest and having his body be all the way recovered, that helps. Right? Whether it's helping prevent injuries, whether it's helping him mentally, whether it's giving him a couple days in between to do the recovery things that he thinks his body needs, it's helping. And then on the other side, Pyotr Kochetkov, Pyotr's a tough one for me. Big fan. I like his talent. I like his moxie. I also occasionally want to rip my hair out watching Pyotr Kochetkov playing goal. And I think giving him a little bit of time to reflect gets him to the point where he can walk the line down the middle of being aggressive, doing the things that make him special, being willing to fly out for a poke check when it's the right move, but also knowing when to rein it in and kind of do the traditional hockey goalie thing. I just think the 1 game on, 1 game off works. Do I think there's a potential down the line for Pyotr to be a more than every other game contributor? Yes. But I think we've seen that it can wear on him. So the goalie rotation, based on what we've seen from the last 3 games since Freddie's been back, and since they went to Tokarski 4 games ago in order to give Pyotr the kind of reset, I just think the rotation works. We saw it at the end of last year. I really liked it. If you go back and find the podcasts or the YouTube videos, 99.9 The Fan, during the postseason last year, I was a pretty heavy advocate for them going with the one game goalie rotation through the postseason, even though all the traditional hockey players were like, that's not what you do. I'm just like, it worked in the regular season. Why not keep it going? And I've got a feeling if they both stay healthy, I'm going to be in the same place this upcoming postseason. So goalie rotation, I'm excited by it. Dennis, anything you'd like to add?
I think to me, it's about the guys on the ice knowing that night in and night out, they have someone that they can trust on a consistent basis behind them, whether it's Freddie or whether it's Coach Eckhoff. I mean, let's be real. Sometimes when you're unsure of what kind of play you're going to get from the guy in net behind you, it can throw you off a little bit. It's just human nature. I know they're still, hey, you just got to go do your job, but that still impacts what you do because sometimes you know, hey, that goalie can bail me out if I do make a mistake. So that's sometimes knowing, hey, the guy behind me is going to take care of things. I'm all good. It's a confidence thing for everyone else out there on the ice. I think that it permeates through everyone.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And maybe, and Dennis, you've coached, so you can maybe agree or disagree with this. It does seem like, and I'm going to sound like the oldest person on the planet right now, the mentalities of athletes are changing a little bit. They're getting more and more comfortable maybe being more supportive of someone at their position. Like, there's, like, if you go back to, I don't even when I was playing, if there was a David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs situation, you know, obviously like the D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart situations, you go back to like the 90s, I just think running backs weren't as cool being like, yeah, I'll come off the field, you score the touchdown. Sometimes I think goalies are like, that's my net. What is the kid or what is the old man doing getting every other game? But for all, like, Piotr and Freddie seem to genuinely like each other, support each other. And you know, I'm not sure if they're, you know, you go through the history of professional hockey, I think a lot of goalies maybe are more competitive than that and not like the healthy kind of competitive, like the I hope he fails, so I obviously am the best goalie. So, you know, maybe athletes are just changing a little bit.
I think it's also a mentality shift from organizations, I think, is where the big thing really comes in because like, gone are the days of, hey, let's ride this goalie for 70 starts and the guy gets worn down. Now, obviously, you probably want to have that one guy come playoff time, but I think teams are starting to learn that the more rest I give goaltenders, the more efficient they're going to be throughout their starts and their careers.
Agreed.
Especially with the pace of play, the way things are nowadays. So I think goalies are just inherently nurtured to be part of a tandem. I think that's really it. It's like, hey, I've been part of a 1-2. Now, obviously, you want to be in net for the big game, so it breeds healthy competition and be the one that you lean on to more in those situations. But throughout the course of regular season, I think it's just part of the game nowadays where it's, hey, you know what? What's our 1-2? Look at the top team in the Metro right now, Washington. They literally, I know Lindgren, one of their goaltenders, got hurt, but they were literally just every other game. This every other game. We're splitting this net equally. It's just what it was.
And I would agree, right? As soon as you said it's a shifting of the teams, my mind jumped to they're probably more willing to find a way to pay two guys and find a way to have them in the future plans, depending on their age and everything else. So it doesn't have to be as cutthroat in the competition because it's not like one of us is going to get opportunities and one of us is going to get paid and the other's going to be kicked to the curb. It can be like, actually, if we alternate this thing and we're a top goal, you know, statistical goalie team in the league, we can both benefit here, right? Like, I like being fresh legs as well. So I'm confident in the goalie rotation. We'll see how long it lasts, but at least for right now, it seems like Freddie to Piotr, Piotr to Freddie, back and forth. Works pretty good for the Canes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's time for first goal scorer predictions. So we're going to go ahead and open up the phone line. 919-860-5326. Here's what I need from you. I need you to appreciate the sound effects. And then I need you to call in, 919-860-5326. and give us the name of the Cane that you think will score the first goal tonight against Columbus and in what period you think it will be scored. We need first goal scorer predictions. 919-860-5326. If one of our 3 official contestants that we take your guess on air, if you get it right, you will win the ultimate sim racing experience at Apex Racing Lab, a gift certificate to Apex Racing Lab. Rev up your engines at Apex Racing Lab, the Triangle's largest sim racing destination. Experience the ultimate thrill with 20 cutting-edge simulators, expert instructors, and world-class virtual tracks. Located in Carey's McGregor Village in Greater Raleigh, visit Apex Racing Lab today and unleash your racing passion. Learn more at apexracinglab.com. Once again, that is apexracinglab.com. The phone lines are filling up, but they're not all the way full. At least they're not in my notes yet. So 919-860-5326. Call in now if you want to get in on the first goal scorer predictions. And as always, if you don't make your way through the phone lines into our official contestant ranks, you can comment on our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe while you're there. We have a live stream that airs every show, waving to everybody out there right now. And if you go into our comments of the live stream and you put the name of the player you think will score the first goal and the period in which you think they will score it, and you get it right, we can give you bragging rights. That's the best we can offer in the YouTube comments, but it's a competition, right? The glory of winning. Do you need anything more than that? Well, yeah, you'd like to have the prize, but you know what I mean. We have Taylor in Holly Springs up first, our first official contestant. Taylor, welcome to the show. Who scores the first goal for the Canes and in what period?
Give me Martinook, and I want that in the first period.
Martinook in the first. What about Party Marty makes you think it's a Martinook kind of night?
Well, while he's not leading the league in opportunities, he's pretty much leading our team in opportunities and enthusiasm.
All right, I respect it. Appreciate it. Go ahead and stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you. How about that? There should be a category like vibes. It's like, hey, he's not in the top 50 in points per game, goals per game, assists per game, power play, nothing, face-off, nothing. Vibes, though, he's third. Having a good season in vibes.
I think he's number 1. Let's be real.
He's having a good career year in vibes. Somebody on San Jose also. And it's like, I don't know how you quantify it. But I do like the idea of it. Houston in, what is that, Bowie Creek? Bowie's Creek. There we go. Houston, appreciate you for calling in.
Roll humps, Tim.
What was that?
Roll humps.
Oh,
Roll them humps.
We got a Campbell Camel on the line. I've told that story a few times.
Well, the vibes must be immaculate because I was thinking Martinook too, but I guess I'll go Carrier instead.
I will give you 2 pieces of information that may help you out here. First, Martinook is not off the table completely. He's just off the table in the first period. So you could take Martinook in the second or third period for the first goal if you'd like. And secondly, Carrier's not playing tonight. He's been injured.
That's right. That is right, huh?
So I will.
Well, then Svetch. I'll go safe.
Svetch is safe? Is that what I heard?
I hope so.
All right. That guy's a little crazy. What period do you want Svetch to score in?
1.
All right. I appreciate it, Houston, by the way, and my Delaware Blue Hens. I'm actually wearing a Delaware shirt today. They're not in the CAA anymore? So go Campbell, roll humps. We're jumping up to the Conference USA, so we've left the CAA in your stewardship. And that brings us to Matt, our final contestant here. Matt and Gardner, welcome to the show. Who scores the first goal and in what period?
I'm going to go chalk here and go with Aho in the first. I think he gets a goal in the first 3 minutes.
First 3 minutes. Now, is there
change the momentum?
Is that wishful thinking, or do you actually? Okay, hey, put it in the universe, see if it comes back. I did that. Yeah. I did that last game for Aho. My first goal scorer prediction was Aho in the first, trying to kind of talk it into happening. He didn't even get a shot on goal the entire game.
Let's put it out in the universe.
So hopefully your luck is better than mine. Matt, we appreciate you for calling in. Stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you. Let's talk about it, right? Well, I like to consider our listeners some of the most educated and hockey smart listeners in any market. Yeah, last time so whatever it was, before the Dallas game, all three of our contestants picked second period for when the first goal would be scored, and they did so because the Canes have been unusually slow starters for a while now, right? It's not just a blip. It is now part of their season story is they are not getting it done in the first period. They're not scoring the first goal and a bunch of things as quickly as they should. Our contestants today, they're back to optimism, right? You come home after being at Chicago, at Dallas, little 2-night road trip crossing the country. You come home, you're playing Columbus. All of a sudden, everybody's optimistic again. Not only were all three predictions in the first period, there was a first 3 minutes prediction in there for Aho. So, again, if you're just tuning in, Taylor and Holly Springs went Martinook in the first. Houston and Bowie's Creek went Svetch in the first. And Matt and Gardner went Aho in the first and doubled down on it by saying first 3 minutes. I would take any of those. And for vibes, those three are all high. Meaning, speaking of like the atmosphere in the Lenovo Center, if any of those three situations took place, the vibes would go through the roof. Dennis, you're done grabbing info. Go ahead and give us your first goal score prediction.
It's Star Wars night at Club Lenovo.
Oh, look at that.
So, I was like, who's the force strongest with right now? I got to go the captain, Jordan Stahl.
You think it's all right?
I'm going the captain, Jordan Stahl. He's the old wise. He's old Ben Kenobi. That's who he is. He's Obi-Wan himself. Give me Jordan Stahl in the first period. We're breaking this no scoring in the first period mess. The captain gets it done.
You didn't want to go Seth Jarvis, May 2-4 be with you?
No.
50,
no.
Yasko? No? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I appreciate you for jumping on that. I would have kept going for a while.
I'm sure you would have.
I would have kept going. Burns kind of looks like Chewy.
He does, actually.
That's not a bad one, right?
He does.
Who can make the parsec run in some kind of time?
It's the Kessel run in 12 parsecs.
12 parsecs. That would be like a Natchez thing, right? With the speed?
Speed, yeah.
Right.
Well, it's actually parsecs a distance thing, so yes, but still.
I tried. I did try. My first goal scorer prediction is Jack Roslovic in the second.
Okay.
Trade rumors lead to goals. We learned that about Kokeniemi, right? He started getting talked about earlier this week. Boom, goal. Next day, boom, 2 of them things. Now Roslovic is being talked about as maybe a guy that gets thrown in some trades, which means, boom, goal. Trade rumors lead to goal. And I put second period because the Canes have they've been slow getting started. They'll wake up, though.
You know what was interesting?
What?
All of our contestants in the last game all said second period, and sure enough, that's when the Canes scored first.
Great minds think alike, Dennis. When you were gathering info, I made the exact same observation.
Oh, okay. So that's fair enough.
We're all on the same page here. And we're on the same page as far as we need to hear what Dennis Cox has to say. Dennis, what do you have?
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, don't go through another year with all that high-interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their debt, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate your debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Just think about that. Being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free rate quote now with no hard credit pull. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Before we move on, Angie, shout out to you on Twitter. She sent in to me at Donnelly Sports. You can do this as well. A first goal scorer prediction, and it's the narrative bets that I usually like. She found one. Robinson in the first. Why?
Former team.
Revenge game.
Former team.
Going to be hot against his old club. It's a good one.
Ironically, Roslovic playing against his former team as well.
Sure.
And that's what Brandon actually said. First goal prediction, Roslovic in the first. And
I didn't even think revenge games, and I picked one of them.
Mikhailov said Aho starts off with a goal and ends up with a 3-point night.
I'd take a 3-point night.
Yeah, absolutely.
From anyone. I'm not even going to be
Especially
picky.
Aho.
Aho. I would be picky with Aho. I want a goal. Like, not just a 3-point night. We know you can set people up. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, we know you can score too. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to hit a broad, all-topic feedback frenzy. Your thoughts coming up.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance up front. They score! Here come the Hats!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Just in time for you to have a great new year, it's the Start Something New sales event at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Put yourself in the driver's seat of a new 2024 Jeep Gladiator for 0% for 36 months. Or take $18,000 off any new 2024 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon or Mojave. See dealer for details. Make this your best year yet with a great deal on a new ride. Get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
Can your heating and air system handle the winter chill? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm not sure I want the answer to this, but what the heck is this?
The song Chewbacca. Did you ever watch the movie Clerks?
Yes.
Then you would know this song.
Years ago. What a pull. I have to be honest. Earlier today, what was it? Graham Hill. Graham Hill, who sometimes produces this show when Dennis has other things going on. Graham, in one of our staff meetings, said, "Hey, just so you know, it's Star Wars night at the Canes tonight at the Lenovo Center. So if you want to come in and out of breaks with, like Star Wars music, there's a lot of songs that pop into your brain there, right? Maybe music from the Cantina, maybe a little, the March of the Evil
The
Empire,
Emperor's
whatever.
March?
Yeah, there you go. Done. You know it. I'm not going to sing it. Was not expecting the Beastie Boys style song from Clerks when he made that suggestion, but that's why Dennis produces. He's here to surprise us. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, and that's also why we leave our comments open on YouTube no matter what we say. because we want you to surprise us. We want you to challenge us. We want you to voice your opinion, and you may just hear those comments live here on the air in something we call a feedback frenzy. Dennis, what are the people saying in YouTube?
Okay. This actually comes from Brandon.
Okay.
Who comments a lot regarding the Carolina Hurricanes and Carolina Panthers.
Love it.
This is when we had the conversation earlier today about JT Miller, the rumored trade between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Vancouver Canucks center, JT Miller. Brandon said this: it depends on who we would give up. Asking about, would you want JT Miller? It depends on what we would give up. I am not in on a fleece job to try and appease fans. I would love to see them win another cup, but I am happy enough with being a solid team 82 times a year.
Well, there's two parts there. One, the answer to should you trade for blank, 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 blank is always what's it going to cost us. It's always what's it going to, or what are they willing to throw in, right? There's always a way to make a trade work. I hate that player. I never want him. We'll throw in 4 firsts. All right, bring him over. Like, there's always some price that'll work. Secondly, I respect the heck out of your opinion saying, like, I'd love to win another cup, but, as long as we're a good team for 82 games, that's what I'm looking for. I respect the heck out of that. I hope you also respect the heck out of my opinion, that is, I hate that thinking. Like, you can have it, but my brain isn't wired that way. I think if there were 50,000 hockey teams, yeah, try to be solid, right? Being the number one is near impossible. But there's one elementary school math class worth of kids of NHL teams. You should be able to think you could be the winner out of that within a couple of years, right? Like, hey, if you're at the bottom to the top, you should be able to do that in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. If things go well and you make good decisions. So I'm always, and this goes for every sport, right? NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, your conference in college sports. You should always be making decisions with championships in mind. That's how I think. I respect you just going hey, I just want a good team to watch for 82 games, and I don't want you taking risks that could potentially make us tough to watch. I'd be going I couldn't live with myself if I didn't take those risks.
Brandon did add, having a team in the Carolinas that is consistently good and has won something is nice to have. Panthers can't string together 2 winning seasons.
I agree with that a little bit. I also think whether you're the Canes or the Panthers, you should be chasing a championship.
Oh yeah.
So I don't want the Panthers going well, we could, go sign a bunch of veterans and solid floor guys and we could guarantee ourselves 8 or 9 wins next year. I would hate that thinking as well. I still want them, swinging for the fences and trying to win Super Bowl. So I understand not everybody thinks like me, so I respect your opinion, but gosh, that doesn't jibe with the way my brain works.
We had a conversation earlier this week about the Carolina Hurricanes needing to fix their power play. Let's say it's on the struggle bus.
Okay.
Will Rout wrote, I said that correctly. Will Rout wrote. Rod will get it straight. They will start clicking. On the reverse, their penalty kill is still top in the league.
Yes. I agree with mostly all of that. But the only thing I will say is I think fans, and rightfully so, that only goes so far. I trust that guy, he'll get it, right? And I'm trying to think of a good example. I'm trying to think of a good, I don't know, if there's a leak at your house or something. I'll actually use a personal example. One time we were ripping up molding in our house, right? Just along the side of a hallway. And unbeknownst to us, we were in an older house, I don't know, 60s, 70s, I don't know when it was built. And I was using the back of a hammer, the claw of the hammer to rip out molding. And there was a nail that put the molding in that went into a water pipe. And for decades, the nail had just been filling the hole in the pipe.
Oh, okay.
So when I ripped the nail out to rip the molding out, water sprays. And I'm probably 12 or 13 at this point in time. So my immediate thought is just scream bloody murder, right? Dad! He comes running down there, and my dad immediately is like, all right, and he starts doing stuff. And my dad is very handy. He's fixed up a bunch of our houses. He does a bunch. And as a kid, you're just like, all right, Dad's got it, right? Just where you are with Rod. Rod will figure it out. And then he was running around, and it was kind of a new house, and then he's throwing, like, rags at me, going, mop up the water, don't let it get to the other. And then all of a sudden, you look out. We lived on the top. Our driveway was a big hill. Look out the window, and my dad is flying down the hill. And there is a point where you're like, I'm not sure he knows how to stop this water. I started very confident here. Turns out our emergency water shutoff was at the bottom of the hill, and it took him a while to find it. But there is a point, even with the most trusted people, like I trust Rod more than I trust darn near any hockey coach. There is a point where you're like, I don't know, man. I just – are you sure you know how to get the water stopped? Because I'm about to, like, take off my hoodie and start mopping it up, trying to keep it from getting – do we have sandbags to keep it contained? You still got to wonder. Nobody is perfect, right? You can still get your hardwood floor pretty damaged by water.
All right, we had a longer conversation earlier about fan reaction about UNC basketball, the state of the UNC basketball
yes,
team.
we did.
This one, I saved this one for Feedback Frenzy. This one comes from Mike Shaw. This team is not playing good. I'm not saying they're not a good team, but they're not a good team. They should run and scoring 80-plus points per game. Who to remove? RJ Davis. He's defending player of the year, but not playing like it.
That is a fantastic comment, and it's one I have considered bringing to air, and Dennis, we've talked about it. I don't know if it's – there was a point in time in the Wake Forest game where, like, my outsider that doesn't actually have to make the decision brain was telling me, I think you got to sit down RJ Davis for the, whatever the next group of possessions. I think you got to take him out of a close game. And my basketball kind of fit on the roster was telling me that. I was there. I was going like, yeah, I think you got to bench RJ here. But then I tried to take a step out and go, well, that's really easy to say sitting in my living room, with two screens where I'm watching Rod Brindamore on one side and the UNC game on the other side. It's really easy to say I would bench RJ Davis. It is much more difficult to do. And I don't know if there's a coach. I mean, that's like, let me think. Belichick Saban, right? That's Belichick benching Drew Bledsoe. That's Saban benching Jalen Hurts. That's you got to be so convicted and know your job is safe. Hubert, if he's playing RJ Davis and it doesn't work, that's a very easy one to explain. He was the best shooting guard in the country last year. Of course I played him. Like, that's very easy to explain in to your boss or in job interviews. Saying I benched the ACC player of the year for a freshman and it didn't work. People are going to look at you like you have, 17 arms, 4 eyeballs, hair down to your waist. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's a little feedback frenzy. It's also coming up time for a starting 5 in which we talk trade rumors for the Canes. This is what I was expecting for Star Wars Day.
The Imperial March?
Imperial March, that's what it is. That's what I was expecting. You surprised me. Now you got me right back where we started. Starting 5, as I mentioned, we'll start with some Canes rumors coming up.
All playoff roads lead to New Orleans.
Playoff football, baby.
The wild cards, the championship games, presented by First Horizon Bank and Wake Med, will be heard here.
It's Barkley running to the left. Barkley gets by everybody. Saquon Barkley is gone. Touchdown. 28-15. Philly.
The Triangle's home for Super Bowl 59. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle sports leader.
This is Gordon Miller with Miller Lending and Carey, and I have a question. When it comes time to buy a house, do you just look at one? Probably not. So when it comes time to working with a lender, multiple surveys have shown that borrowers who requested multiple quotes were far more likely to receive better terms when compared to those who likely only spoke to one. So why Miller Lending? As a mortgage broker, we're not limited to only one lender, as is the case with your bank. We act as more of a one-stop shop. With access to over 24 lenders, it's not uncommon to receive multiple bids for your mortgage. Recently, we've saved numerous homeowners upwards of $10,000 or more in closing costs for the same interest rate they'd been quoted. Now, while you may think all lenders are the same, they aren't. So whether it's a no closing cost purchase, our highly competitive FHA, VA, or jumbo rate, see why thousands of satisfied clients have chosen Miller Lending as their lender for life. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K.O. Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. Now through February 1st, Triangle Area Bojangles are donating all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K.O. Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry biscuit. You'll be doing some good and getting something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We saw a lot of thawing today as temperatures reached the upper 30s. We'll see refreezing again tonight, the low around 22. Partly cloudy, milder, but still chilly for your Friday, the high 44, 47 Saturday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell up 408 points to 44,565.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're here earlier than I thought we would, but there's some Canes trade rumors. If you are a Canes fanatic, we are going to dive into that in the starting five. But also, you can hear the Canes tonight right here on 99.9 The Fan. Stormwatch a half hour prior to, just as it usually is with Adam Gold. And then the entire broadcast right here, 99.9 The Fan, as they take on Columbus at home tonight.
Hockey night in Raleigh.
Hockey night
in Carolina.
And they're in Carolina this time. With that being said, let's hit the starting five, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whipped around. Hughes shot with traffic in front. And there's Kochetkov's best save. He had JT Miller all alone. And the Canes are able to clear after that dynamite save from Kochetkov.
Here's the deal. As pointed out earlier, and meaning earlier in the show by a commenter, and I seconded, the answer to any trade rumor question in the history of the world is, well, what's the price? Hey, Carolina Panthers, do you want to trade for Patrick Mahomes? What's the price? Well,
doesn't matter. Pay it.
You'd have to give up half of David Tepper's net worth. Do you want to trade for Devontae Adams? Sure, what's the price? Right? Do you want to trade for JT Miller, Canes fans? 103 points last year for Vancouver. The answer is, what's the price? Right? Like, Nobody actively doesn't want a 100-point producer on your roster, especially a team that needs a second-line center. And we've been talking about that for how long? Like, I think when it started, I was in middle school. Like, it's been a long time. So, yes, the answer is yes. What's the price, though? Same thing with Elias Pettersson. Like, I'd rather have him. He's 5 years younger than Miller. You know, if you want to trade for Miller, why stop there? Pierre LeBrun, TSN and The Athletic, says, yeah, JT Miller will not be cheap.
But one thing the Canucks have sort of changed their tune on, when this started 6-7 weeks ago in talks on JT Miller, the Canucks said, we need apples for apples. We're trying to make the playoffs here. We don't want to do a futures deal. The Canucks have relented a bit on that. They would do a futures deal when it comes to making a deal with a contender like a Carolina or a New Jersey, because they understand those teams don't want to trade away from their core. So still to play out here, but the Canucks are telling teams, we're not giving this guy away. We'll see where it goes.
How about it? How much are you willing to spend? It's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be cheap. That's the real conversation. So for the those of you that were not listening earlier, I'll give you a little bit of the insight. According to The Athletic, they kind of kicked around, tapped around, whatever you want to call it, potential trade compensations for JT Miller. How about this? 19-year-old Russian prospect, a winger, Nikita Artemanov, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, who actually might not be super exciting by the Canucks, but the money helps make it work. A 2025 first and a 2026 second. Now we can start talking. Is that too rich for your blood? I think it's too rich for my blood. The Canes probably suggest something like Kotkaniemi and Roslovic, plus a sweetener. We'll throw in a pick of some kind. Now we're talking. I don't know why the Canucks would do that, but now we're talking. If you want to shop top shelf, the question isn't, do you want Elias Pettersson in a trade? The question is, are you willing to give up Natchez, Drury, Jesper Fast's long-term IR cap space, Scott Morrow, one of your best prospects, and a second-rounder, potentially a first, for Elias Pettersson, for the right to pay Elias Pettersson $11.6 million against the cap for the next 7 years per year? Those are the questions to ask yourself. I wish it was as simple as, do you want to trade for these guys that have proven 100-point potential? Because the answer would just be yeah. While you're at it, I don't know, McDavid. While you're at it, McKinnon. Really any of those. Like while you're at it, yes. What's the price, though? That's always got to be the question. And that's what we're going to continue to ask for the next 7 weeks until they hit the trade deadline. That's number 5. Let's jump to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Watson in trouble. There he is, TJ Watt.
All right, everybody, consider the source. That was a TJ Watt highlight coming out of the starting 5 intro to the NFL awards. So the NFL put out their nominees. There's 4 or 5 names for all the big awards that they're going to give out at the NFL Honors Ceremony. One of them, which, by the way, we're going to do this. We're going to give you all of my picks, and we have a Panthers spin on it. We're going to do that to close the show. So be around about 5:45 after the numbers game. But we'll since Dennis went ahead and got it started, one of the Defensive Player of the Year finalists is TJ Watt. Now, Dennis doesn't lead the league in sacks. Doesn't have a bunch of interceptions. Isn't top 5 in many stats. Why are you putting TJ Watt up there? Consider the source.
He's the best.
Was the Steelers' defense all that great?
At times.
I think TJ Watt might be in there because his last name's Watt. That's all I'm saying.
And because he's awesome?
When he is awesome, he's won the Defensive Player of the Year the best. When he is awesome, yes, I am a fan, and I think he should win all the awards. I don't think this year he was as awesome. The other candidates, by the way, Zach Bond, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, and Patrick Surtain. Does it hurt you? We're going to make our picks later, but we can have some conversations about it. Does it hurt you at all that Surtain is in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation when he and J.C. Horn are going to be forever linked based on their draft status being right next to each other in the same draft in the top 10. Does that sting at all?
Oh, since Surtain was drafted right after J.C.
Yes.
Horn? Yeah, it stings a little bit.
Same position, same draft, right next to each other.
Stings a bit.
Would J.C. Horn even be the Defensive Player of the Year on the Panthers? That's a question we might be answering later, which just shows you how different their careers.
A lot of options.
And it shows you how different their careers have gone since they were drafted right next to each other. Some of the other categories that are sure to draw a whole bunch of scrutiny. Jared Goff, Joe Burrow, and Saquon Barkley, congratulations. You should be celebrating your nomination for MVP because it is a two-horse race between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, and I know who most people think should win, but we'll see who does win. Rookies of the Year. Congratulations, everybody else, but there's the one name on the offensive side that's pretty darn obvious. The awards, it's a fun time, and stick around 5:45. We'll make our picks and get the Panthers involved, which means they won't be winning the awards, but we'll get them involved somehow. Participation trophy. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Jim, you know I don't discuss contracts.
That was Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick signed his contract yesterday.
Yay. Signed the contract for the job he agreed to 2 months ago.
That he had agreed to like a term sheet that was not a binding agreement, but had a buyout, but the buyout might not have been enforceable. But why hadn't he signed it? But it's actually normal that he signed it. Larry Fedora coached for almost a year before he signed a contract. What in the heck was going on with that contract? It's all over now, so we can just talk about it like, now that we know it's not a huge issue. Why is that a thing?
Well, the whole question was, we heard a couple weeks ago from Jonathan Jones of CBS, who covers the NFL, that, hey, Belichick hasn't signed his contract. If an NFL team wants to come in here and try poach him away, what's holding them back? Like, if you haven't signed a contract, there's no buyout or anything like that. I'd be like, hey, actually, guys, I'm not going to come.
And it's very similar. The reaction was very similar to what happened yesterday with Dan Hurley. Okay, Dan Hurley, if you missed it yesterday, right about this time, we talked about it, I think actually right now in the starting 5. Dan Hurley, coach of UConn, was a jackwagon, as we call people on this show, on the floor yelling at a ref. And then after the game, he was asked about it, and his response was, I wish you would show other coaches when they get mad because they also are very demonstrative to the refs. And I went, well, that doesn't defend what you did. That just means that other people also should be taken to task for what they do. But that's not really, if you punch me in the face and then someone else comes up and punches me in the face and goes, you should be mad at them. I'm like, no, I'm mad at both of you. You both punched me in the face. So what happened was Bill Belichick it had been like a month before it was like he had been out recruiting. We saw him in high schools across the state of North Carolina. He had hired a GM for North Carolina football, and then we heard he hadn't signed his contract. And so many of us responded with, that's really weird. Why isn't Bill Belichick under contract? You have this buyout. It might not be enforceable. And what was the response? Well, it's actually industry. It's not that unusual. A lot of time guys don't sign their contract. And I'm going well, all right. Those other fans of the other places where their guys don't sign contracts should be asking the same questions. Just because they do it weird doesn't mean you have to do it weird. When you take a job, you sign the contract. If you want to buy out to work, you haven't signed the contract. You don't give them the expense account and send them to recruit until they've signed the deal that says they're not going to leave to go coach the Cowboys. It was very weird. Turns out, again, no harm, no foul, right? It didn't end up hurting anything. Doesn't appear to have affected the program at all. The contract is now signed, but it's a freedom of information request or whatever. You can go find the contract online.
FOIA, Freedom of Information Act.
You can look at it. Now, obviously, certain things are redacted, personal privacy, but you can see it. It's signed and it's dated yesterday.
Here's the interesting about it all, because Bubba Cunningham who's the athletic director, and the chancellor, they all actually have their signatures on the contract today. UNC actually sent the contract out to us, to media today, saying, hey, we've had so many questions about Belichick's contract. Here it is. And sure enough, you scroll down, signature, and they're dated, and it's yesterday for Belichick and today for everyone else. It's like, oh, okay. They're just said, hey, quit asking. It's basically what they said.
I don't care that it didn't end up being a disaster. It's still weird. And if I were an athletic director, we're not having the press conference until we have a signed contract. But obviously, I'm not an athletic director, so probably won't change. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
The ACC, as a conference, left us a morsel to help get us through till football season. Today we have the first week of games in next college football season. It's been, less than a week since this football season ended.
It was Monday.
The ACC put out the schedule for Week 0 and Week 1 games next season. And I have those for you here. As far as a schedule for revealing schedules, because just so you know, that's what we're talking about here. A schedule for revealing schedules. Today, we have received Week 0 and Week 1 games. Tomorrow, we are expected to receive the first ACC game for each ACC team. So first conference game and when they will be played. And then Monday, there will be a longer reveal for the entirety of the schedule for ACC teams. So, yes, there is now a 3-day schedule to reveal the season-long schedule. That doesn't begin until late next August. You can't tell me football fans aren't crazy, because there are people out there right now going, get to the Week 0 games. When do they play? Well, relax. First game of the year, Stanford at Hawaii, and it's the 23rd of next August. You have 8 months, almost to the nose, to figure out where you're going to be to watch Stanford at Hawaii. That's Week 0. Which, by the way, you can learn Week 0. Do you remember what happened Week 0 this past year?
Florida State lost to Georgia Tech.
It was in Ireland, right?
It was.
Florida State, Georgia Tech, Ireland. It was the first chance we had to go, well, this Florida State team looks different than last year, doesn't it? And then by about Week 2, we were like, yeah, we can make fun of Florida State. They can't do anything about it. So that's Week 0, Stanford at Hawaii. Week 1, on Thursday, ECU at North Carolina State. There will be players, there will be fans that have been waiting since the fight at the end of the bowl game was concluded. They've been waiting for that game a long time. They can't even wait for the weekend. They'll play that one on Thursday of Week 1. On Friday, Kennesaw State will visit Wake Forest. Wake Forest has a little bit of a quarterback competition brewing. They have the transfer from some big-time school, maybe I forget, South Carolina maybe? And then they also have a transfer from Charlotte. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is a close competition that Kennesaw State game might help decide, right? You can play a game before you get to your major conference schedule. Saturday, this is all happening August 30th. Fordham at Boston College, Cal at Oregon State, LSU at Clemson. That's a big one. Elon at Duke as an in-state game takes place. Alabama at Florida State. We'll see what Florida State's made of this year. Georgia Tech at Colorado. You know what the circus that comes with Colorado football right now. Eastern Kentucky at Louisville. I didn't look it up. I should have. I don't know what logo that is playing against Pitt.
Duquesne.
Duquesne. I threw out Dartmouth. I was just looking for anything.
Steel City matchup.
Anything with a D. And then who's the true. Who's the Lion playing SMU?
That is East Texas A&M.
East Texas A&M. I would never have gotten there.
Never would have gotten it.
Syracuse will be playing Tennessee. This is all on Saturday. That'll be part of the Aflac kickoff game in Atlanta. And Coastal Carolina at UVA. That's all on Saturday. Then there's some premier games on Sunday and Monday. Sunday at 7:30 on ABC. You do have a time for that one. The rest we're still waiting on times. Notre Dame at Miami. Virginia Tech versus South Carolina will be part of that Aflac kickoff games scheduled for take place in Atlanta. And then on Monday, this will be September 1st.
Labor Day.
7:30 p.m. ESPN, TCU at the North Carolina Tar Heels. The Bill Belichick debut will happen on Monday in prime time of week 1 in the college football world. That we know for sure. And as Dennis pointed out earlier, it's something to track. I mentioned the schedule of revealing schedules, where we're going to get a little bit of ACC football schedules kind of over the next 5 days, a little bit at a time. Pay attention to where UNC is, and you will see why UNC wanted to hire Bill Belichick. Because they're not going to be playing in a bunch of, like, oh, there's 47 games going on at 2. We're going to be on the CW. They're not going to be on many of those games.
Nope.
They're going to be on primetime networks, night games. They're going to be noon on ABC. Like, they're going to be big games.
But to surmise what we found out today, again, East Carolina, NC State, that is going to be a Thursday kickoff, Thursday night. You mentioned Wake Forest hosting Kennesaw State and Elon at Duke. That's Saturday. But again, UNC prime time, Monday Night Football. Ironically, Monday Night Football for Bill Belichick. To start off his college coaching career, he gets Monday Night Football.
That's hilarious.
On ESPN.
They should have started off on Wednesday Maction at Ball State. They should have said, "Oh, you want to coach college football? We'll give you college football."
That'd be funny. You get Eastern Michigan on a Tuesday.
Yeah. We got you lined up here. You're going to be playing Bowling Green. You're going to be playing in front of 4,000 people on a Tuesday. Good luck, Coach. Not exactly the New York Jets, huh? I don't know why I just threw a whole bunch of ricochet shots at Bowling Green.
Hey, yeah, that's where Sean Walker played.
Hockey. Everyone knows Bowling Green is an elite hockey school. I was talking middle of the week football.
Yeah.
That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Go one!
Speaking of, Sean Walker.
He'll get it back across the rink. Good chance for Kotkaniemi, scores! It was a rolling punt. Kotkaniemi settles it down to the right face-off dot and wires it past Jake Ottinger.
That was a really fun goal. I'm just going to throw that one out there. That was from the Dallas game for the Canes at Dallas, which they won a couple of nights ago. And they're playing tonight at home against Columbus. Do you know who's really happy right now? First of all, Canes fans are on a 3-game win streak, first one since November, going for 4. They're at home. Freddie Anderson's back, all of that. Kotkaniemi scored 3 goals in the last 2 games. Like, there's stuff to be excited about. But there's also one particular Canes fan that thinks when they lose or don't play well, it's on me because I jinx them by talking about how the opposing team is not very good. Now, I want to be clear here. I do my best to only say that when the opposing team is not very good. And I try to, call it like I sees it. But this particular Canes fan says every time that I say the other team is no good, the Canes start slow and they don't play well. They play to the level of their competition, and it's my fault. Which, I'm fine. Fans, superstitions happen. What about a day where we spend most of the day saying don't sleep on your opponent? They're not as bad as their reputation says. Am I reverse jinxing right now? Am I hitting a Randy Johnson? Am I throwing 104 miles an hour? Am I a judge on American Idol? Am I Randy Jackson? Am I reverse jinxing? I think I might be. Listen, Columbus is solid. Columbus is solid. They've Dennis did the full rundown. 7-2-1 in the last 10. Over their last 14, they're pretty good.
11-3-2 in their last 16.
There you go. They've won 2 in overtime. Were they both shootouts against the Canes? Shootouts against the Canes this year. Canes have only beaten them once. Mm-hmm. So they're what are we doing here? Columbus is solid. They're not someone to overlook, even though at times you just see the logo and you go, oh, they stink, right? Hey, they forgot about Spencer Martin. I don't know.
Their power play is hot, too, by the way. They're clipping over the last 16 games. They're about 36, 37%.
Well, the Canes won't even know what that looks like.
Right.
The way their power play is playing. They will know what it looks like. Just imagine like last year, where you were second in the league in power play percentage. Not going to happen this year. Here's what I'm getting at. Canes have some things going in the right direction, right? For the first time in a while, momentum, right? They've won. Some players are a little quiet, kind of waking up. The goaltender rotation, which we talked about earlier, for the first time in a long time has given you confidence. It's not can Pyotr hang on. It's Pyotr Kochetkov and Freddie Anderson in the roles, if they stay healthy, can thrive. So there's momentum. But the funny thing about momentum is just as quickly as it gets in your sails, right? As it starts pushing you forward, it can start working against you. So you have to show up in a game like this at home against a team who's better than maybe their reputation would say, and you have to show up. You can't show up sloppy. You can't give back everything you've worked so hard for. We talked earlier about the state of North Carolina Tar Heels basketball fans and how some are starting to get, a little bit more vocal in their displeasure. I thought the Stanford game was they by the way lost the Stanford game over the weekend, but they had built momentum up to then, right? You started to see the roster taking shape. They had won a decent amount in a row. They had players emerging. It looked like something was happening. That Stanford game, wet blanket on a small fire. Like it was out quick. You want to avoid that type of fate. Gostisbehere, for just a quick update, was not at morning skate, but is expected to play, and we've seen that at least once in the last few games for Shane Gostisbehere. I also didn't realize how important I would think Shane Gostisbehere is. When they signed him, I was just kind of like, all right, nice, he's coming back. That's a good player. He knows the system. Hopefully it won't be a long adjustment period. Now he's not at morning skate, and I'm going like, geez, what are they going to do if Gostisbehere doesn't play? I wasn't expecting that to be my reaction.
Not unironic or not ironic that the power play, since he suffered his injury back at the end of December 27th against New Jersey, the power play has gone to crap.
I remember
8%.
Right out the gate, he had good shots on goal, and I was just like, I like this guy's aggressiveness. I hope it wears off on a few others. And ever since then, I just like the way he plays. Also, we talked a lot about trade rumors today. They have to do their best to block that out. That's a professional sports thing. It would be weird, though. It would be weird. Be in trade talks and then have to go do your job. At any, imagine you're, a waiter or something, waitress, or an accountant, anything. Your boss is just out there, leaking rumors like, hey, we've been looking at this busboy from the Mexican restaurant down the street. His numbers are a little bit better. Yeah, we'll have to give up. A couple tables, but we think we can make it work, and then you got to go do a great job. It's tough. That's all I'm saying. So Roslovic, Kokaniemi, these guys that are mentioned, Natchez, you never know how it's going to affect them. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Right here, right now, we need some numbers game contestants because we have a pair of tickets to give away to see Shinedown at the Lenovo Center on August 21st for their Dance Kid Dance Tour with special guests Bush and Morgan Wade. Tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m., but you don't have to wait that long if you want to play the numbers game and win. Call in right now. We need two contestants, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. We need two contestants. Numbers game coming up next.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Nate heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance up front. They score! Here come the Hats!
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
What's this?
We're expanding the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club.
That's a pretty big wrecking ball.
Well, with all these new scratch-offs, this place is going to be packed with new winners. Okay, let's go ahead and knock this wall down. This is where we're putting the polo field. Whoa, patience, Trixie.
This month's tickets are loaded with $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 3.31 to 4.55. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Shop can't miss deals going on now during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. For a limited time, get a free adjustable stand when you buy a DeWalt 12-inch miter saw. That's a $229 value. Plus, save $680 on a Midea 4-piece kitchen appliance suite, now just $17.96. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 113 through 124. Cannot be combined with additional discounts while supplies last. See store or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
Don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get a free rate quote with no hard credit pull, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's the new year. Time to make a positive change in your life.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted. Not available in Washington State.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. And as always, we have a prize that goes along with that. It is, for today, Shinedown tickets. Pair of tickets to see Shinedown at the Lenovo Center on August 21st for their Dance Kid Dance Tour. They also have on the card Bush and Morgan Wade. Tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. But you can win them right now. At least Dean and Clayton can, and Tim and Franklinton. They are the contestants for today. We're going to ask a question, and Dennis will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. I hope we get good answers for this. So I follow Dan Orlovsky of ESPN, the NFL analyst on Twitter. And he just tweeted out, or retweeted out, someone else saying, few people know this, but Dan Orlovsky played a housemaid on a 60s, 70s sitcom, The Brady Bunch, with a picture side by side of, I think her name was Alice on The Brady Bunch, and Dan Orlovsky and his haircut. And the similarities are noticeable. And Dan retweeted it with, "This is a humbling presentation." So the question to our two contestants, Dean and Clayton and Tim and Franklinton, is... and Dean, if you are there, be ready to answer. The question is, what celebrity have you been told you look like, and is it true or not? Like, give us the details.
I've been told several times I look like Tom Hanks, and I mean multiple people, not just one. And I'd love to have his money and his track record in movies, but yeah, it has to be Tom Hanks. All right, that's a solid one. That's a big movie star. Dean, we'll see if Dennis picks your answer in a second. Tim and Franklinton, same question to you. What celebrity are you told you look like, and give us some details?
Back when I was about 19 years old, I was always at Dorton Arena at wrestling, and Big Bubba, I looked exactly like Big Bubba, and it was actually my nickname. They called me that for years, and he left and went to WWE to become the Big Boss Man. And that's the only thing I can remember. You know, my little brother looked exactly like Patrick Swayze, but I was the Big Boss Man, Big Bubba.
All right, so the family was Swayze and Big Bubba. Your family pictures must have been interesting. Go ahead and Dennis, pick which answer is your favorite.
The fact that you're pulling in Dorton Arena and wrestling and the Crockett promotions and stuff there, I got to go with our big boss man comparison. I got to go with Tim.
I had a feeling that one was going to get Dennis in that side of the argument, in the corner, if you will.
I was like, he said Big Bubba. I was like, wait, you talking about big boss man? I was like, I knew who that was.
Look at you, just a couple of wrestling historians.
Let's talk.
I'm a big Tom Hanks movie fan, Dean. So there you go. I'll be on.
Hey, I'm a big Tom Hanks
I'll be
fan
on your
too.
side. Tim and Franklinton, you get to go first. Dean and Clayton, you get to sit around for a second and then go second. Tim, are you there? And you ready to pick a category?
All right, let's go.
All right. The categories are NFL players born the last week of January, NFL players not my real name, meaning players who go by a name that is not their government name. NBA players that were on the Rio Olympic team in 2016, or NHL Hurricanes only.
The NHL Hurricanes. Good.
You know, there's a lot of joking around during the whole "you look like" conversation. You just got real serious when you picked your category.
I listen to you just about every afternoon if I can. Yeah, you and Adam Gold both. I mean, matter of fact, one of our new employees where I work is Barbara Kingston, and she works out there at Lenovo. Has been there since 2006. And I'm a huge Canes fan, man.
All right, I respect it. I appreciate you listening, and also now I'm expecting big things for you in this category. So
all right,
no pressure. There are 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. I will give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. I know you know these rules, but I say them anyway.
Oh, all right.
All right. Go as fast as you can. Any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Martin Necas, Carolina Hurricanes.
88.
Correct. Jack Roslovic, Carolina Hurricanes.
96.
Correct. Dougie Hamilton, Carolina Hurricanes.
17.
Incorrect. Eric Halla, Carolina Hurricanes.
54.
Incorrect. Dougie Hamilton, Carolina Hurricanes.
19.
Correct. Tim Brent, Carolina Hurricanes.
Who?
Tim Brent, Carolina Hurricanes.
44.
Incorrect. Eric Halla, Carolina Hurricanes.
56.
Correct. Tim Brent, Carolina Hurricanes. Oh, one short.
Oh.
I like how you channeled Dougie Hamilton. Dougie. 56. Or 19. Eric Halla, 56. Tim Brent, the one you missed, number 37. 4 is a solid showing. We'll go ahead and see if it holds up. Stay on the line. That brings us to Dean and Clayton. Dean, are you there?
I'm here.
Or should I say Tom Hanks? Are you ready to pick a category?
I am.
All right. NFL players born in the last week of January. That's your first option. The others are NFL players, not my real name, players that go by a name other than their government name, or NBA players from the Team USA Olympic team in Rio in 2016.
We'll do the first one.
All right.
NFL players born the last week of January.
Perfect. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. You need, let's see here, all 5 to get the win, so no pressure. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Bijan Robinson, Atlanta Falcons.
12.
Incorrect. Travis Etienne, Jacksonville Jaguars.
24.
Incorrect. Bijan Robinson, Atlanta Falcons.
80.
Incorrect. Travis Etienne, Jacksonville Jaguars.
12.
Incorrect. Bijan Robinson, Atlanta Falcons.
Pass.
Andre Reed, Buffalo Bills.
42.
Incorrect. Travis Etienne, Jacksonville Jaguars.
6.
That's a 0. I do respect that you fired, right? When I thought maybe you knew Bijan Robinson was a running back, and then you threw an 80 in there, and I was like, I don't know. Bijan Robinson with the Falcons wears number 7. ETN number 1. Andre Reed, the Hall of Famer from the Bills, wore number 83. You didn't come up with any of them, but hopefully you had some fun.
I did. That was great. Thanks.
You can always fall back on your movie star good looks, since you look like Tom Hanks.
There you go.
Right? Why do I know sports trivia? I look like Tom Hanks. That means Tim and Franklinton, you are the winner. Congratulations. We put high expectations on you when you picked the Hurricanes category and gave us a little bit of your background, so you lived up to it. Congratulations. And I believe this music is for you. Does Big Boss Man's?
No, it's actually not because he got 4. I'm giving him the 4 Horsemen theme song.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
He approves.
I was going to say, you got a fantastic reaction there.
Look, guys, I had seats on the front row corner where the bad guys came in for like 2 years straight. I knew the Murnicks, and I got my tickets from them. It was awesome. That was always a blast at Dorton Arena.
Should I turn my mic off and just let you guys do your wrestling historian thing? Now, we appreciate you for playing. Congratulations on the win. You get the tickets to see Shinedown with Bush and Morgan Wade at the Lenovo Center, so enjoy that. And all you have to do is give some info to Dennis, so stay on the line.
Perfect. Thanks, Dan.
All right. You know, there are times, I mean, and I understand, a lot of people are pretty big, wrestling fans, and I just kind of never got into that, so I do understand that it is a little different sometimes, but when you guys go deep down those paths, I can't keep up. But Dennis always can. So if you need that, the Fan Rookie on Twitter would be the place to find him. The Drive, Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I can tell you about this. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending, home of the no closing cost loan. No closing costs. I mean, right now, with rates being as high as they are, people are paying $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to maybe buy down a rate, right? Get that interest rate a little bit lower because you do the math and you realize that saving X amount of percent, if you're making a monthly payment every month for 30 years, you're going to save this amount of money, which is all true. You can do the math. You can figure it out. But take this into account. The average length of a mortgage, for how long you actually hold the mortgage before you move, before you upsize, downsize, pay it off, before you refinance, is 4 years. The average length of a loan is 4 years. It's been that way for decades, sometimes less. So, right, you can buy down a rate, and then you'll save X amount of dollars over 30 years, but you probably won't break even on that buy down if you're moving bigger house, smaller house, cross town, cross country, whatever, within the average amount of time most people make those kinds of changes, which is why a no closing cost loan becomes so important. That gives you the flexibility to refinance when rates drop, to get another mortgage when you move, whatever, without reaching into your pockets deep and taking out all the cash you have, right? It saves you the cash in your pocket. So stop buying down rates that you won't keep for more than a few or a handful of years, and instead call Miller Lending. 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, millerlending.com. We hit some NFL awards and put our own Panthers twist on it. Coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Listen for the Did He Just Do That?
Johnson trying to step back for a 3. Bring it up. Left side. Boy, that was cold-blooded.
The deep looks from downtown.
Damask from the right block. Gives to Hawkins. Straight on. Triple. Good. They left him open, and he makes him pay.
The Get That Out of Here's.
Bonner to the basket. Rejected by Renew, who saw that one coming.
Your exclusive home for the Final Four. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Hello, I'm John Heister for John Heister Chevrolet in Fuquay Arena. And people are asking us, how are you selling so many cars all of a sudden? Well, did you know that the Beltline has opened up the outer loop? We're only 28 minutes from Knightdale. We're only 19 minutes from Clayton and 15 minutes from Apex. We're now the most convenient Chevrolet dealership to reach in the Triangle. And the best part is, you don't have to traverse the inner city traffic. It's just one more reason to get off your keister and come to Heister.
Together, let's drive.
Progressive knows we all crave validation.
Girl, you are not 37.
I would have guessed 27.
You guys are too sweet.
Sure, dewy skin. Terrific.
Is something wrong, Ned?
Why would you ask? Just because today marks my 10th anniversary without a car accident or even a speeding ticket? But somehow, tonight's all about your skincare.
Wow. With Snapshot from Progressive, you can get a personalized rate based on how you drive. And that's all the validation you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Is your plumbing outdated or just not getting the job done?
Call Newcomb & Company to see how we can help get your home operating at peak performance. Our experienced plumbers can repair or replace faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today. You in? We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need to keep stepping it up. And you can work out your way on your time at any convenient location near you. Most open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 31st. See Home Club for details.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We are, come on in. We have Casey Morsell of the NC State Wolfpack a season ago joining us here in studio now. He's also my co-host on the Pack Therapy podcast, so the live radio thing, when we're saying come on in, he's like, when's the pod start? So we're getting him on here. He is now in studio. And I guess we'll get to NFL honors tomorrow because every time we've tried to talk about it today, there's been something that pops up. So we'll do that tomorrow for those of you that have been waiting. For right now, Casey, we have I'll put it this way, and I'm actually going to borrow this from Paul Ihander, who hosts Next Up every weekday morning here on 99.9 The Fan. The struggle bus has two stops in the triangle right now because it's stopping at NC State, where as of late haven't been winning games the way they'd like, and then it's stopping at the rival in Chapel Hill, haven't been winning games the way they'd like. How surprised are you that two programs that are traditionally so successful and stable are finding themselves kind of panicking at this point in the season?
Yeah, I mean, not too surprised. I think from a talent perspective, I mean, that could be a bit of an eye-opener. But from a chemistry perspective, the NIL or the transfer portal has caused chemistry to develop later. So I expect both teams to develop and be better versions of themselves heading into postseason play.
Now, obviously, you have a unique perspective on this because of what your team was able to do last year. Has State's run last season that you were a part of maybe smoothed over things a little too much? Because Now, right, like you just heard, like you just referenced, right? Oh, chemistry takes a while, right? With the transfer portal, teams are going to figure it out more as the season goes along. And there is a point where it's too late, right?
Yeah.
Now, for your team, it wasn't, and you were able to go on the run you went on. But, is it getting to the point where it's maybe the point of no return in an ACC season?
I don't think so. I would say the only point where you kind of get in that position is when you're fighting just to make it into the tournament. Then it's like, okay, that's a shocker because the ACC is different with the 3 editions. So I think that's when it becomes a bit of you got to move with a sense of urgency. But once you get in postseason play, it's a completely different ball game. When you're in it, teams can't practice. That's big. I mean, because you can, but I don't think it's recommended.
Running baseline to baseline in the morning and then playing at night with 3 more games in the next 3 days, probably not going to
Literally,
work.
yeah. So a lot of teams are getting a lot of mental reps in the postseason, so that changes things a little bit. But when it comes to season play, man, it's really just all about you just getting on the same page. And some teams are at a higher level earlier than others, but you're not fully out of it until that postseason fully begins.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Joining us in studio, Casey Morcell, one of the perimeter players from last year's NC State team and the co-host of the Pack Therapy podcast along with myself this season. How do you – and this is a $1 million trillion question. How does Coach Keats get State to play better in one-possession games with a minute left in doesn't matter who they play, really. I'm looking at the schedule right now. Virginia, 1-score game loss. Wake Forest was a bigger loss. Notre Dame, 1-score game win. North Carolina, 1-score game loss. Virginia Tech, 1-score game loss. Cal, 1-score game loss. Every game they play seems to be coming down to the last possession, and they're just not winning a high enough percentage of that. Is there you mentioned practice. Is there something you can do in practice?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think you could practice and get as much, but practice is not nearly like the game, especially at this point in the season. So I would say when it comes to the game, I mean, it's really just from what I've seen from NC State is it's the details, man. I mean, they're not guarding at a high level once the end of the game comes, and there's a lot of mental mistakes that occur, like guys aren't paying attention to scouting report. Like in the Virginia Tech game, shooters got open looks towards the end of the game. Like there's just these collapses that force them to lose. So that's literally all it takes is to win the close games is the details.
Now you said I'm just going to pick one thing you said out of that and dive in. Practice isn't like the games, especially at this point in the season. Both NC State and Duke have a week off. They went from last Saturday to next Saturday without a game. Is there an opportunity there to turn your season? Because like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, for lack of a better term, coach can run your tails off and you still have enough time to recover for the next game. Like, did this week absolutely stink for NC State with having time to actually kind of get their butt kicked?
Most likely.
Yeah.
And most likely, but from my experience as a player, it doesn't really change things as much as people think. Like,
but it does feel good. It's like punching the wall. Like, it's stupid, and you're going to have to fix it. But I mean, you can't tell me you don't relax after. And I've never punched a wall. It's just a metaphor.
But I know, like, NC State has definitely worked on, like, end of game situations, so they'll do situational moments in practice. That's something that a lot of teams do when they struggle to kind of close out games. And
can you do that for 3 straight days where you just like, and I've talked about doing this for Duke as well. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're gonna have 2-hour practices, and we're just gonna put a minute 47 on the clock. You're up 3 with 1 timeout. Minute 12 on the clock. You're down 2, and you're in the double bonus. And just like throw all these situations so you get better at moments that don't happen that often.
Yeah, I mean that's big. I think, in my opinion, as a player, the reason why it didn't really help too much, like for me, is because like a minute 47 in practice situation, you're not thinking about fatigue. You're not thinking about just like the mental mistakes.
I'll run stairs beforehand. Let's get everybody tired.
You know what I mean? Like there's so much. So I mean, situational moments in practice is easier, but But you get the concept of like, okay, being smart with the ball, taking good shots, like what to look for. But I mean, that's really all it takes in terms of for them closing out the games because they're right in it. They just got to focus and lock in on the details.
How do you explain? And we'll focus in on State, obviously, with that being your background. How do you like, to what do you attribute it to that it doesn't matter who they're playing or how well that opponent is playing? They're pretty much even for the first 38 minutes, and then it decides in the last two. Playing to the level of your competition, like how do you attribute that? Where do you attribute that?
Wow, there's a
because I mean
you're
looking at it like North Carolina at the time was playing solid. Virginia's, I mean, their coach left and they're all over the place at the bottom of the ACC. Virginia Tech, Cal, they're on different places as far as how well they're playing. Yet no matter who, it's a one-score game at the end of the game. Yeah,
they're you know what it is? They're playing a different game when it comes to crunch time. Like they're not playing the same game that they've played the 36, 37 minutes. And, you know, part of it is, you know, once that time comes, the biggest thing I see is they're turning into like a lot of individuals. So it's like one-on-one guys trying to break guys down. And
Hero Ball, exactly.
Yeah. And, you know, there just haven't been many heroes on display. like seriously, I mean, it's just like, you know, I feel like, you know, Keats has drawn up plays for pretty much everyone on the team, really. You know, come down to crunch time and no one's hit the big shots. So it's something that they need to learn from in terms of playing together for a full 40 minutes.
Are those decided ahead of time? Like I played college football, and we always knew what our two-point conversion play would be. If the game came down to a two-point conversion and we needed to score it, we'd learn what it is on Wednesday. We'd run it and practice on Thursday. We'd walk through it on Friday. And on Saturday, if it came down to it, like coach didn't even have to signal it in. We knew what we were doing. We knew who the number one option was.
Yeah.
Do you know, or is it like a hot hand thing? Like in the walkthrough, is coach saying, all right, if it comes down, we need a three. We're going to run this action to get Jaden Taylor the shot. Do you know?
Yeah. I mean, with this team is completely different because I think they're still trying to find the guy. And I think Keats is, you know, he might draw up stuff for pretty much whoever has the hot hand. In terms of previous teams, pretty much we would always look into DJ first, DJ Burns, just because, I mean, he was a guy who drew so much. He put so much pressure on the rim, like, you know, just with his inside presence. So, but this team, it's completely different because you just don't have a guy that, like, you know, it's guaranteed to shoot the last shot. So it's tough to scout, and I don't know what they're doing in this position because I've never really been on a team like that.
When you have DJ Burns, it does change things.
For sure.
That's Casey Morcell, my co-host on Pack Therapy, the podcast. If you want more insight into ACC and particularly NC State basketball, we're literally going to record as soon as we get off air here. So that's where you can find it. Pack Therapy, the podcast, new episode out tomorrow. If you want more Canes talk, Canes trade speculation, we talked about it earlier today, and that will lead things off on Overdrive coming up at the top of the next hour, 6 o'clock. And there's more Canes on the network. Stormwatch, they're taking on Columbus tonight. You can hear it all right here on 99.9 The Fan. That's going to do it for us here today. Please subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Back to Slavin.